Hello, everyone. This is Editing Ruth, who is currently editing this episode. Truly a month, if not more, since it was recorded. So apologies. The holidays are a busy time for everyone, and there was a lot of heated rivalry to watch, which we will talk about in this episode, but of course, in a very late and outdated fashion. Anyway, I'm popping in to say that we start this episode with an extended gag that we later kind of go back on in the episode, but I wanted to just sort of get ahead of it this time because one of the movies we watch and talk about this in this episode has an extended plot of Paul Rudd deciding that he's going to kill himself. So we made a joke about it at the beginning of this episode, and I would say that's not cool. Generally, so heads up about that. The episode does go some fun and exciting and not depressing places after that. Anyway, thanks for listening, and thank you to everyone who keeps tuning in. Here is episode 5 of Pulp Fantasy.
We'd like to start this episode with a little announcement.
Yes.
This is a very special episode of Pulp Fantasy because at the end of this 2 to 3 hours, we're going to kill ourselves.
Yep. This is the last episode ever. You thought we were going to cover Anaconda? You were wrong.
You were wrong. We will be dead just a week before Anaconda comes out.
Yep. We
kind of tragic in a way.
Yeah. And we won't be coming back as ghosts.
We, as far as we know, will not be coming back as ghosts.
No.
I guess we can't say for sure because we're not dead yet, but we will be in about 3 hours' time.
Yeah. Maybe this episode will be wondering, even longer. You don't know. Maybe that's the key here.
Maybe as long as we keep podcasting, we don't have to kill ourselves.
Yeah.
But of course, we want to kill ourselves because this is like our 5th episode, and by the time Amy Poehler had this many episodes, Time called her show one of the 100 best podcasts of all time.
Yeah.
And we are not on that list yet. I just checked this morning, and so we're really feeling like this is all for nothing.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a call from any podcasting networks. No advertisers. No advertisers. Yeah. No big guests. No.
It's really rough out here, and that's why we've decided to take the easy way out and commit suicide once we are done with this episode.
Yeah, it'll be in the episode, though. We have to record it for posterity.
Yes, of course. And we've invited some of our fellow film students to document the process.
Yep.
This is Pulp Fantasy.
Welcome to Pulp Fantasy.
For more than 100 years, the world has been fascinated by the movies. The movies.
Everybody, if this is your first episode, you're in for a ride.
You're in for the ride of your life. And hopefully the context of that bit will become clear later on in this episode. Assuming you haven't done your homework, don't know about the movies we're covering, haven't watched 5 movies to prep for this episode, come on. I was talking to someone who wanted to be a guest on the show, and I sent him the show, and he said, "Do I have to watch 5 movies for this? Because I cannot do that."
Listen, if I can do it, if I can manage to cram in 2 different Rudd duds today of the recording, I think other people can pull it off.
Yes, and for anyone who does want to guest on the show, you do not have to watch all the movies.
No.
You could just have something to say about one movie. Or we could do like one-off episodes. You could be in the awards episodes. There's plenty of opportunities for any Amy Poehler good hang type guests to come on the show.
If we could get Paul Rudd, can you imagine?
Here's the thing.
Okay.
I am a staff writer for Movie John. I am a movie critic. And for those of you in the audience that don't know, I am going to be covering Sundance this year.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear the like finally there'll be a festival reporter that I'm actually like, what are the best movies?
Yeah. And David Wayne, who we did an episode on this season.
Yes.
Has a new movie coming out at Sundance. Mm-hmm. Which I'm very excited for. It stars Zoe Deutsch, who I love. Mm-hmm. It's got a really fun premise. I think it's going to be great. I have the press contacts. Mm-hmm. I could arrange to reach out to David Wayne and be like, "Hey, do you want to come on my podcast?"
Oh my god! Oh my god! Like, listen, there's if you never ask, the answer's always no.
Exactly. So if David Wayne ends up on this podcast, that is the origin story of that fateful episode.
I think pitching it as we're watching all of the movies that your good friend did that failed miserably would be like a really I feel like he'd be into that, you know?
I feel like he'd be into that gag, and we're gonna get into some similar gags that he was maybe involved in this episode.
Yes.
We're talking about 5 movies today. Mm-hmm. These are all movies that came out. The last one, The Baxter, actually came out the same weekend as The 40-Year-Old Virgin. But The 40-Year-Old Virgin was the moment where Paul Rudd kind of became a mainstream name in comedy. He was known as like a side character, heartthrob kind of guy from Clueless and Romeo and Juliet. But that was sort of the like, you know, Paul Rudd, Judd Apatow movie star thing started with 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
So we're talking about an interesting slate of movies today.
Very interesting.
Yeah, all there. I have a lot to say about all of that.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
But to kick things off, usually we will have a sort of like, what have we been watching recently thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know that there's any movie that we've both watched in the past month other than what we're covering.
Yeah, I was looking back at it. I haven't made it to the movies very much. The only I'm going to see Hamnet tonight, which I'm very, very excited about. And my mom already saw it and said it was good, so I'm excited. It's been the couple years of Paul Mescal, and I never want it to end. Let's keep it coming.
It's been Paul's time for sure.
Yeah.
I have to say, Hamnet has been out at least here in Philly for a couple weeks.
Okay.
And I've had a few opportunities to go and see it, and for some reason I haven't. I don't know what it is. My friend Violet, great guest on Pulp Friction, potential future guest on Pulp Fantasy, said that that movie Hamnet kind of convinced her that Paul Mescal's a bad actor.
Ooh.
And I feel like there are a lot of the buzzy Paul Mescal movies, like History of Sound, After Sun, the one with All of Us Strangers, like big buzzy dramas that for some reason I never got to. And I do wonder if there's an element of Mescal that just on some deep level is like, eh.
Yeah. I thought he was really funny in Gladiator 2. Like, that was a really weird.
I think he's pretty miscast in that role, but
he's too sleepy. That was what one of my friends said, and then as soon as he said that, I was like, "That is what it is. He's too sleepy.
He can't be a gladiator. He's too sleepy.
Yeah,
he needs to have a nap." That movie is fun to think about. I feel like the last few conversations I've had about that movie were about like, "Oh, Paul Mescal's weird in it. Oh, Pedro Pascal's weird in it," and I just remembered this week that Denzel Washington is like the bad guy in the movie.
Denzel Washington so totally stole that entire movie that it's almost like he disconnected from the movie itself. That's how good he is compared to the rest of that movie.
Yeah, like you think about Gladiator 2 and you think about Denzel in Gladiator 2, and those are two different thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. I can say, okay, I don't know if you've caught this, but I just watched the most recent episode, but Heated Rivalry on HBO, the pop culture buzz of the hour in my spheres anyway, is really good. It's really
I've seen it popping off in Tumblr diff sets.
Yes, of course.
I think there's been some chatter among my friends. I've seen it on the streaming as wherever it's on Max, right?
It's on HBO. It's a Crave original, but HBO picked up the US distribution.
I'm familiar with HBO Max, so I just call it Max.
Oh, of course. Please, HBO Max is my father. I'm just Max.
Right. I mean, yeah. It's I haven't watched it yet, but it seems like a lot of fun, and I'm excited to check it out. I saw a thing where one of the actors was talking about how people want to see him pregnant, and he was like,
"Yeah,
okay."
they are so in it though. Like one of them released a quote where he was like, "During the chemistry read, I thought we were gonna have sex right there," like, and their chemistry is off the charts. It's so much fun, and it's like, as soon as you figure out, or like we figured out that it was the same guy who made Letterkenny and Shoresy, it totally changed. Yeah. It's not. It is an actual like queer man who knows hockey and like knows the culture, taking what is at face value maybe, you know, the classic like hockey romance novel thing of like a middle-aged lady writing definitely something that is not fan fiction in any capacity. And then getting published with it, but like he's taking it really seriously, which we're going to talk about a bunch once we get into some of our movies tonight, because when it comes to romance, I want earnestness, and he has complete earnestness. It's also really fun as a hockey fan. Highly recommend.
Is it something where like it has little treats for the hockey lovers in the audience? Little tips of the hat.
It's very like every now and again there'll just be something where it's like this is just like extra funny, or where it's taking something that's so like ingrained in hockey and being like, but actually it's super duper gay now. And me and my boyfriend watching it are like, it's always been gay. Like, yes, thank you, Jacob Tierney, for understanding. My one other thing is that there's, in the most recent episode, there's I'm now blanking on his name, which is super embarrassing, but there's a fairly prominent trans guy who plays hockey, and he has a new movie coming out that I would plug it if I could remember what it was called, about like being a trans guy playing hockey, and he gets to just play just a random player on one of the dude's teams, and me and Adam are sitting there and we're like, wait, there he is, and then like he kept showing up as just a really short random dude on this team, and it made me so happy. I thought I was gonna like die. Like there's other stuff going on in the episode, but I was like, that him.
Yeah. What I've been doing mostly, and especially in the last week or two, is catching up on things that I missed this year.
Right.
In terms of movies, in terms of shows, I should be watching Pluribus. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
We should all be watching Pluribus, but has anyone gotten to it? Who knows?
Yeah. It's impossible to say on Apple, but in terms of movies that I watched, that I caught up with, Odessa was probably the one that I was most into. Very freaky, kinetic, brightly colored.
Yeah.
Like it's a dystopian retelling of the Orpheus and Eurydice story. It's got Sadie Sink and Kelvin Harrison Jr. Sadie Sink is the Orpheus character, and Kelvin Harrison's the Eurydice character. It's really fun, really silly. Regina Hall plays a character named Neon Dion, who just hosts like every event in this in this universe. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it for anyone who likes crazy movie. Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it, and then I saw it come up on your Letterboxd, and I was like, oh, add to watch list.
Absolutely. And other than that, I saw Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which I did not like very much. I saw Bob Trevino Likes It, which I did like a lot. That's a cute little indie movie with Barbie Ferreira and John Leguizamo. is based on a true story, which at the end like genuinely brought me to tears. It's that's a good one too. That's one to check out. And Leguizamo's been like promoting it a bunch on his Instagram all year. So I've been like, I just every time I open Instagram, I'm like, oh, I should watch that. And now I have. But we're here to talk about 5 movies.
We're here to talk about Paul Rudd.
We're here to talk about Paul Rudd and some of his duds. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is when you watch a movie that has Paul Rudd in it, you're like, hell yeah, Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd was good at that. When you watch 20 movies that have Paul Rudd in them, you start to forget about him a little bit.
You had that great quote earlier in a different episode where it was like, he becomes like wallpaper to these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a coworker who like was listening to a little bit of the podcast, and I was like, oh, what did you think? And she just goes, I thought I was going to learn more about Paul Rudd. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if there's a lot very interesting about Paul Rudd's life before he became an actor, you know?
Yeah.
Or if there is, it's not knowledge.
I think he was born in Kansas, and he, was into acting and comedy from a young age.
Yeah.
And he ended up, getting into comedy with the Stella people, and then he ended up in Romeo and Juliet. He was introduced to the Stella people by Zach Orth, who was in Romeo and Juliet with him.
Yeah.
He was just kind of, an actor. And that's sort of the thing that's great about it.
Yeah, he's an everyman.
He is someone who does not bring any baggage to to a performance.
No.
And there's some people where the baggage is part of the appeal.
Yes. Oh,
but
Tom Cruise, part of why I love him is because he is a crazy man. Like, that is part of why he's good at what he does.
Every Tom Cruise performance is about Tom Cruise the man, in a way.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd is just sliding in.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's there to have a great time.
I
we love that about him.
I opened his wiki to make sure, and he was born in Passaic, New Jersey. But he grew
Jersey. But he grew up in Kansas.
He definitely grew up in Kansas because he's a big Chiefs fan.
Mm-hmm.
There's that amazing image where it's like Paul Rudd despondent at the Chiefs losing next to Anne Hathaway losing her mind at the Eagles winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
It's really good.
Go Birds. Well, now you've learned something about Paul Rudd.
Now you've learned about Paul Rudd.
So the 5 movies we're talking about today: The Size of Watermelons, The Locusts, 200 Cigarettes, 2 Days, The Baxter.
Mm-hmm.
Fair to say these are all movies that I hadn't really heard of before we started putting together this podcast.
Mm-hmm. I was vaguely aware of The Baxter because we had it at the library I work at, and so I saw the title on the shelf all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And as a proclaimed Showalter fan, I had glimpsed it in his filmography. But I thought it was a British production for some reason, which it's not. But we'll get into why.
It has
I thought
that energy, though.
Yeah.
The first movie we're talking about is The Size of Watermelons, which you watched this morning, correct?
I watched it first thing this morning.
I like The Size of Watermelons a lot. Let's just start with that.
Really, really liked it.
This is a very Gen X MTV, like dark, funny, all these actors. And we have some very Gen X movies in this pile, but this one is very director early in her career, throwing big ideas out there, and everyone's having a lot of fun. My first thought after watching this, and I think I said this on Letterboxd, is that if you just remade this shot for shot with an all trans cast, it's a perfect movie.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. It gave me, I was thinking about Clerks. It's that sort of similar, we're just going to make a movie. And that's part of what the plot of the movie is, but in the very, texture of the construction of the movie, it just feels like a bunch of friends being like, we're going to make a movie, and we're just going to make the movie.
Yeah, it's got lots of that, fun, editing stuff.
The editing is great.
Early on, we have all these crazy scenes, shots washed out in blue, and lots of super close-ups, and it feels like a young director trying shit out, and in a really fun way.
Yeah,
in a way that never feels irritating.
I was wondering if you were able to find like any information on the production of this movie, because I clicked around a little.
I have a little bit.
Okay.
Not a lot. Not really about the production either.
Okay.
But it was the first film by Kari Skogland, who mostly works in TV. She's a big TV director. She did episodes of like Walking Dead, Handmaid's Tale. She did every episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She was the director of that miniseries.
Okay. That's really interesting.
But this was her first film. I believe she was pretty young when she was making it. I'm fact checking myself here for a second, but she's how old is Kari Skogland? I believe she started in like as an editor, and then she did TV commercials, music videos, and then a little bit of TV. And Size of Watermelons was kind of her first feature. She's her age is not known on the internet, but this movie,
you can feel that it's young. You can feel it's someone who's like still very fresh out of art school.
Yeah,
for a lot of reasons, you can really feel that in every element of the movie.
Absolutely. This movie premiered at Cinefest Sudbury in Ontario, Canada, 1996. It never had a theatrical release. It premiered on German television in 1998, and then its first home video release was in 2004. You sent me a link.
Yeah.
But shortly before we started. And it's
talk about this image. Please tell me about this image. Describe it to me.
That I was clued into, but I had to really do a deep dive on it. I would love to spend an hour talking about this image. This is, to my knowledge, the American DVD release of The Size of Watermelons.
Yes.
I don't think there is another version.
The only other DVD release I could find was Region 4, I believe. So you could get it in Australia, apparently.
Yeah. I think the Australian version was the one that came out in 2004. This one is a little more recent, clearly, because the picture of Paul Rudd in this image, first of all, is obviously from at least, like, Knocked Up era.
Yeah. Yep.
This could be a 2024 image of Paul Rudd, frankly.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell it's not him in The Size of Watermelons. And this image, and first of all, I need to make it clear that none of the elements of this image are anything like anything that actually happens at The Size of Watermelons. No. So it's Paul Rudd in a white t-shirt with two watermelons at the chest level, sort of imitating perhaps large breasts.
Yep.
There are no watermelons in the movie, first of all.
No.
I don't think he's ever in a white t-shirt.
No, I was going to say, it looks like they photoshopped a photo of Paul Rudd onto a stock image of a man in a white shirt.
Yeah.
Like, there's something uncanny about where the neck connects to the head.
Maybe they had a picture of a man in a white shirt holding two watermelons, and they had to put Paul Rudd on it. But he's also on some sort of tropical island.
Yep, he's at the beach.
Which, again, he's at the beach. There's a palm tree. There's blue skies. None of this has anything to do with the movie. The tagline, "So you want to make a movie," is very appropriate, sure. And then at the top it says Paul Rudd, Donald Logue. Those are two people who are in The Size of Watermelons. At the bottom are three people whose names are in bubbles.
Yep.
Which bubbles have nothing to do with this movie either.
No, the biggest bubble very clearly says Kristen Bell, who's not in Size of Watermelon.
Yes, and the two smaller bubbles say Rob Schneider and Jenna Dewan, who are also not in The Size of Watermelons.
No, but they have bigger credits than Paul Rudd and Donald Logue, who are in the movie.
Yes. Well, they are in 2 of the 4 bonus movies.
Only 2 of them. Oh my god.
And here's the funny thing. Kristen Bell is, I think, in 50 Pills. Rob Schneider and Jenna Dewan are both in American Virgin. No one from the cast of Far Out Man or Busted is credited.
No. I also really like, they chose this font that's giving very, like, Desperate Housewives, like, like I'm a TLC reality show.
Yeah.
It also kind of gives like shampoo bottle, like, you know, the like the like fish soap. That's the sort of like aura that's coming off of this
and I'll
image.
also say it's it looks like a 30 Rock joke.
Yeah, this would be in the background of like Liz's office, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I wrote the script for."
I wrote The Size of Watermelons.
We're gonna have to put this on the Insta or something. This image is really important to me.
Yeah, we might have to update the graphic to have this be our our Size of Watermelons poster.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting, the movies that were chosen, because I might be a little off here, but I believe that 50 Pills came out like a decade after The Size of Watermelons, and Far Out Man came out like a decade before. So I don't really know much about how these DVD box set like all-in-one deals work.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how these movies ended up on the same DVD, or why The Size of Watermelons is the one that they chose to be like the poster movie.
They knew that no one would show up for Rob Schneider, so they were like, we have to put the Paul Rudd one on front.
Yeah, I guess.
A lot of those like multi-packs come about because some distributor, somebody like Echo Bridge, my beloved, will find a bunch of movies that are very, very cheap to distribute because no one's ever done it, or they're really old, or no one will touch them. And then they just throw together this Garbo case with just the randomest shit in it. I love these. I go to the dollar store specifically to seek out the like plain disaster multi-pack that has like 30 of like these movies you've never heard of that all sort of have a plane disaster in them.
Yeah, like 10 of them are Steven Seagal, 10 of them are Chuck Norris.
Yes, exactly. I think I literally have that pack.
I have great news, by the way, about who distributed this DVD. It's Echo Bridge.
Of course it is. You know it. I see them and I go, ooh, let me look. It's always Echo Bridge. They got me. They've got my back in all things.
If nobody's got you, Echo Bridge got you. So, some other things about Carey Scogland, who did Falcon and the Winter Soldier, is now seemingly working on, you know, like building a profile, doing more big projects. She was the director most recently attached to the Gal Gadot Cleopatra movie.
Oh, interesting.
She was the one who was going to do that.
Yeah.
There have been no recent updates about that.
I can imagine.
There have been no updates since about October.
I wonder.
2023, it looks like. She did direct a sequel to Wind River.
Oh.
The Jeremy Renner movie.
I didn't know that got a sequel.
That movie is done. It has not been released. As recently as last month, Jason Clarke said that it's coming out soon. So that's what we know about that.
Fascinating. I really liked that Wind River movie.
I've heard that dark. It's very good. Yeah.
It's one of those ones where you're like watching it and you're like, I'm not having a good time, but it's well put together. And it's like trying to do some things in terms of its like indigenous inclusion. So you're sort of just like, I don't know how to feel about it, but like I feel better than I would normally, you know?
Yeah, I feel like Wind River is one that comes to mind more than I would think, you know?
Yeah.
It's like every once in a while, I'll think of the poster. Or I'll just be like, Jeremy Renner, he did Wind River. You know? It's like, and apparently it's got a sequel that I'm sure in whatever format it comes out will be watched by lots of people who watch things like
Yellowstone,
who watch Tyler Sheridan stuff.
Yeah.
Taylor Sheridan. Excuse me. This was also written by Rob Stefanik, who is mostly a puppeteer. Mm-hmm. He worked on Bride of Chucky. He worked on The Doodle Bops. He wrote and directed the Canadian vampire movie Suck, which has a bit of a cult following. I've not seen it. So some interesting folks involved in this.
Yeah.
I will say that, yeah.
I was just going to say, I feel like that sort of group of people feels like the kind of group of people you'd meet at like a random house party in LA, where like you're seeing at your friend's birthday party and you're like, oh, you're a puppet, you have a screenplay? Wild. Like, and then somehow you sort of stumble into making a movie together.
Yeah, it doesn't feel unlike the crew of my movie.
Wow.
Which will hopefully be out in the winter, early spring.
Yeah.
We are very close. But I'll say the version of this movie that I watched was on YouTube in a very square aspect ratio.
Yep.
Which I think I don't feel like I missed anything, but
no,
I don't think that's what it was meant to be.
It was hard to tell. It kind of felt like it was supposed to be 4:3. I tried to find another just quickly streamable version because this YouTube version got really choppy at some point, and it was super annoying. And so I tried to find another one, and I couldn't find one. It's like this, even on like the other random streaming 123 movie-esque site, it was like the same exact footage like file from YouTube. And so I said, well, screw that, I'm just gonna watch it on YouTube.
This movie is hard to find because it was never distributed and it's owned by Echo Bridge or whatever.
Listen, part of why I found that image on Amazon was because I was genuinely like, I kind of want to buy a copy of this movie. So maybe sometime in the future I'll upload a better version to archive, like the Internet Archive or something.
Yes, you can upload a better version to pulpfriction.substack.com.
Yep. So subscribe now for the ability to watch The Size of Watermelon in greater than 480p. Yeah.
It's going to be exclusive bonus content. And it won't be taken down until Wind River 2 comes out. I also noted that there were parts of the YouTube version that were choppy. There are also a lot of sound effects in this movie that are very YouTube, you know, like it's another like first movie element of it, you know, is that like what there will be a lot of like whoosh.
Yeah. The punches sound right out of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, a lot of sounds that you can very easily find if you Google, you know, smack sound, and then just download the first thing you find off YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah.
I also like that this movie starts with a lot of people calling Paul Rudd a fag.
Yes. Okay, so like, we're not going to get into 2 days for a minute because we've got a couple other movies in the chronology to get to. But watching the two of these back to back this morning was bonkers because I heard fag way more than I was expecting in either movie, but they're in both. Yeah. And then they're both so about like LA and like being an artist in LA and trying to like make a movie that it made for a very compelling double feature. I genuinely low-key recommend.
Yeah, these are two movies. This is the Paul Rudd Donald Logue collection.
Yes, yeah.
And they have a lot of overlapping themes and two, like, you know, dark Paul Rudd performances. Like and speaking again to how a shot-for-shot remake of this with an all-trans cast is needed, I just think Paul Rudd is carrying a little bit of T-boy swag. It's
100%. 100%.
Hair and the outfits. Everyone's outfits in these are so transgender.
Yes.
Like, everyone I know who is like any of these characters is transgender. Yes. I think that's just how it is today.
Yeah, like it felt very I couldn't help but think of like college and like Sarah Lawrence campus. Like, this is a movie where you could take 7 random people off campus and sort of interview them about their life, and it would end up sort of having the plot of this movie, you know?
Yeah. There's that goth girl who like calls him a freak and then flips him off, and it's like, we've been there.
Yeah. Especially because that's right as he's saying like, she was the love of my life, and I'm like,
yeah.
It's also one of two
Kari
movies.
Skoglund, she gets it.
Oh, She's got some juice. There's some juice. Someone's cooked here. This is one of the 2 movies we'll be talking about today where Paul Rudd has the most amazing sideburns. Just like big triangle, like all the way, like contouring the cheek level of sideburns.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah. Doing some real like art house stuff with the sideburns.
Some like drag king sideburns. I love it.
Yeah. It's like, and it's everyone's vibes in this, you know. It's the bands, it's the girls. It's even Donald Logue is giving like you know, non-transitioning, non-binary, like communist guy.
Yeah.
A big part of why don't you tell us what this movie is?
I was gonna say, like, at this point we've gotten there. So the plot of this movie is Paul Rudd plays sort of a quirky weirdo trying to find his place in the world, and then he goes to art school. And at art school, he meets a bunch of these other like weirdos, most namely Donald Logue as oh my god, what is his name? Gnome, as well as some other cool people, some girls that he dates, this really cool guy Philip, who is like just like a cool art like musician guy. And they sort of get out of college and are all living in LA and kind of like trying to find their place, and Paul Rudd can't seem to find his like creative outlet. And so he's just like drinking a lot and lounging around, being a 20-something. And then he has this brilliant idea that he's going to make a movie. But of course, to make a movie, he needs a lot of money. And he also doesn't have any idea what his movie's going to be about. Eventually, he has the brainwave that the thing to do is make a documentary. I love how he describes it as it's going to be kind of like Hoop Dreams, except it's in black and white and with no basketball.
Mm-hmm. That's a good line.
Yeah, I had to write that one. There were more than a few lines I had to write down that I had to like stop and be like, okay, let me get this word for word. And so through like a sort of crazy series of events, because the documentary is going to be about Gnome. It's going to be about Donald Logue, his like friend who's decided to run for president of something, and sort of just has all these very like lofty gonzo political ideas. And so they get a bunch of film students, great character bits, a bunch of random film students to get them equipment and to film it. There's a whole thing where they go to LA. No, they don't. They go to Las Vegas. Donald Logue runs away with all of his cash to try and make enough money to fund the movie. And it all kind of ends up going sideways in like a very like real way that's happened to many an independent film.
Yeah.
And it's a very sweet movie about just like friendship and trying to be an artist and trying to like find your place in your 20s, but it's all through this like very weirdo like art school LA, it's the 90s like lens that makes everything just like extra fun and extra quirky and extra unique. I was trying to think of like other movies I'd seen that are like this. Mm-hmm. And they kind of exist, but the like lack of polish and the true like independent spirit in the production, really, on top of like cool editing and some cool shot compositions and this great cast, it's just genuinely a great movie.
Yeah, definitely the sort of the narrative style and the kind of hangout vibes, like the lack of ABC plotting, reminded me of some of the Amy Heckerling movies like Fast Times and Clueless. It's the kind of thing where like, you know, they don't start, they're talking about this movie for a lot of it, but there are also a lot of parts where they're not talking about the movie, and they don't start shooting the movie until like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
It's you know, we spend time with these characters, and it's really just about like what Paul Rudd's life is like in this character.
The central locations are like Donald Logue's weird tiki comic book shop and Paul Rudd's tiny apartment, and then like a skeevy bar, and like there's like a random abandoned place where like the punk bands play. Like it's sort of living in these like weird liminal spaces where clearly like it was like, this is the set we could make, this is where we could film, but it works well to add to the kind of like, these people are just sort of drifting from place to place in their little circle.
Yeah. I guess to take it back to the DVD color, I guess the tropical island part comes from the music, which there's a lot of, there are several songs that are literally used in SpongeBob.
I was going to say it's the like free. I looked into this one time because I love listening to
Hawaii.
SpongeBob. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, there's that too. Donald Logue's whole thing is Hawaii for the Hawaiians, and I was like, pop off.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
He's right.
He's on it.
And it's a great choice for that character because it is a real it's a real left-wing cause, but a somewhat like less zeitgeisty one. It's one that makes you get the sense that like he's really in the weeds. And it makes you, even when Gnome is kind of a dick, you're like, well, he's fighting the good fight,
Yeah, his head's in the
and at the end of the movie he goes to Hawaii.
And I love him. I've loved him since I started watching Gotham as a child, where he plays Harvey Dent, and he's just really good as Harvey Dent. Hey guys, it's Editing Ruth again. I am cutting into your very valuable time in our extensive podcast to correct myself and say that Donald Logue, of course, played Harvey Bullock in Gotham and not Harvey Dent. And it's really important it's important to me that everyone knows that I know that, and that as soon as I heard myself say that, I went, that's not right. So that's what I promise not to make a habit out of correcting myself on this podcast, because then I would be doing it a lot. Thank you for your time. And in this, he just like, he pulls off being that like that guy that who's like kind of an asshole and you don't super want to spend time with him, but also he's like sweet and his heart's in the right place, and you like can't help but kind of want to follow him. I don't know. I really like the character of Gnome in this.
Yeah, I think it's a really successful scene where the film student guys are like, what do you mean we're making a movie about him? And then he gives this speech that makes them say, okay, yeah. And I think it's just really well done.
Did you write it down? I wrote down a good chunk of it.
I did not write it down.
I paused the thing and I backed up so I could get. Donald Logue is at like some like abandoned skate park-esque thing somewhere near the beach in LA, and he goes, gangs fighting on the streets, the deficit spending, transsexuals who don't get along with their parents, public schools, private schools, film schools, man, lost jobs, lost hope, lost wages. And at the end of this speech is when he goes, I've got balls the size of watermelons. That's title of the movie.
That's the name of the movie.
It has nothing to do with actual watermelons. It is all to do with Donald Logue's balls.
Or tits, as the DVD cover implies.
Yeah. As soon as the line...
And again, if you imagine an all-trans cast saying transsexuals who don't get along with their parents, it would say a lot.
There's I'm just looking at my notes now, and there's a great line where, because Paul Rudd keeps quoting Quentin Tarantino and how he said like, "Oh, I didn't go to film school."
This is the line that I wrote. Quentin Tarantino said he didn't go to film school; he went to movies. And then I believe it is Gnome who says, "Yeah, but Quentin Tarantino eats my ass."
Yes. And there's
now more than ever.
Truly. Did you see the photo that Michael Cera posted?
Michael Cera, yeah. I don't think that's the real Michael Cera, but yeah.
Well, the image that the meme account behind that Michael Cera post is still, I stand by it as if it is the real Michael Cera.
Yeah.
Fuck Quentin Tarantino, Paul Dano all the way.
Mm-hmm. And I think if he didn't feel there would be potential career consequences for him posting that, he would have posted it.
This is true.
That's the thing. It's like, it does feel like, and it's really funny because, to go on a little Quentin Tarantino tangent, he has been so so particular about like, this next movie is going to be my last one because I don't want to ruin my legacy. I want to finish strong and just have 10 great movies, and that's my career. And the longer he tries these different things and tries to figure out how to cap off his career perfectly, the more he fucks shit up. The more he's like, and this is a news cycle where fucking big actors and big people are coming out of the woodwork to be like, hey, fuck you. I love Paul Dano. I love Matthew Lillard. You don't get to say that shit. And I think he's lost some of that cachet by being like, I'm only making one more movie, because people are like, what? Fuck this guy. Like, what do I care?
The chances of me working with him are even less than they were before.
He didn't just add Kill Bill to Fortnite. He added Fortnite to Kill Bill.
I haven't heard about this. Please explain.
He released the 35mm Whole Bloody Affair, and he directed a Fortnite short, Yuki's Revenge. That was like a part that that was like an extra part. And on these screenings that you can go to that are all 35mm, after the credits, there's a Fortnite short. He put the Fortnite short into his director's cut of Kill Bill.
So I'd heard of this short, and somewhere along the way, it had been completely lost that it was a Fortnite short. I thought it was just some Netflix nonsense.
It's Fortnite.
Oh my god. That is really something else.
I hope he never makes a 10th movie.
This is gonna be.
I think that would be the funniest outcome, is if he just never made another movie.
Especially with Avatar 3 coming out, with Avatar being that thing where it's like Avatar 2 is never gonna happen, and then it does. MCR got back together. You know, like all these things that people said was never gonna happen happened. Let's just genuinely never get that 10th Tarantino.
Yeah, I'll be seated if it comes out. But
of course. But I'll also be glad.
It's like that tweet. It's like that tweet about Morrissey, where they're like, I could never get into Morrissey. I just like the first 4 Smith albums, and then the 3 solo albums, and and everything else he ever wrote.
Exactly. Anywho,
the note I have of Noam's introduction in this movie is. And this is just what I wrote down. Gay Boy Rudd, saved from bullies by epic Marxist Donald Logue.
Yep. That is in many ways the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's other stuff that happens, but that's kind of the entire movie. Except...
That's kind of the main thing.
Yeah. The movie is kind of about Paul Rudd learning to, like, step away from his college friend. Because, like, the whole intro of the movie is him being like, I never had any friends. I was always this weirdo, this outcast. And then he went to art school. Classic art school story of, like, suddenly I'm not the only one anymore. This is, like, famously what always happens. It's why people end up acting out in art school, you know? Because it's like, well, now I got to be unique in a new way. And so Donald Logue is, like, his first friend that he makes. And much of the movie is him just sort of following him. It's the two of them following each other to the ends of the earth, back and forth. Until eventually Paul Rudd chooses to sort of find stability over this, like, great artistic vision, which makes sense. Like, it's a movie about art school kids sort of living through their 20s and figuring out what they're actually going to do with their lives.
Right. He does Rudd does a lot of narration in the movie, and there's a part early on where he's talking about, like, all his friends are doing these cool things, and he's like, I'm an artist too. I just don't know what my art is yet.
Yeah. And, like, it ends with him becoming a PA on the set of some, you know, famous director. And he talks about how all the other PAs are guys just like him who talk about their, like, great movie they're going to make someday. But he's the only one that's filmed anything. He's got that first scene that they shot. Yeah.
And that's a great sequence,
that's
too.
So
when he gets in the zone and he's like, I think first shot of Citizen Kane is what he said.
We don't have a dolly.
And
he picks up a skateboard. We're going to make a movie.
We're going to make a movie. it's a really great scene, and a big part of it is that Noam is not there.
Mm-hmm.
Noam has gone completely AWOL. I don't know if he went to Hawaii then or later, but he's gone off the map. He was not answering calls. He's not in his place.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Rudd is like, we have a crew, we have a location, let's just shoot something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really triumphant kind of moment.
Yeah.
The other part of this story is he's seeing this girl, Lizzie,
mm-hmm.
Marissa, or Maggie. There's Lizzie and there's Maggie. Lizzie, I think, is the one that he's
Lizzie's the
seeing.
one that like becomes
Maggie's
a musician.
Yeah, Maggie's the one who like has actually directed before.
Yes,
and the one who's like, are you shooting on 16:35? And Rudd's like, about 30:35. And there's a whole subplot where he's seeing Maggie for a little bit, and then he goes to Maggie's place, and there's a guy there in leather pants with no shirt, and he's like, oh, she's fucking like a Tom of Finland guy. And then it turns out there's this whole little caper thing where they end up trying to hide behind the dildos in a sex shop, and they find out, of course, that the guy is gay.
Yes. And then when Maggie's like, I've never seen you sober, Paul Rudd has this great line where he's like, I was sober with the dildos.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like just little bits like that and little lines that are so fun.
Yeah. Fun bits. There's there's the dream sequence with Adam West.
We haven't even gotten to that. Adam West is in this movie.
Adam West is in this movie, by the way. I thought he was going to be non-speaking, and I thought that would be really funny. He does have one line at the end of the dream sequence, but at the beginning of the movie, he talks about, growing up, living in a van or something, and how he would like pretend to be Batman a lot. And then he has this dream where Adam West appears. It has a lot of fun.
Yeah. It took me a minute to figure out if it even was Adam West. I was like, is that really Adam? But then when he spoke, I was like, that's Adam West.
Adam West is a guy who in his time, R.I.P. would do that kind of thing. He'll play a regular role on Family Guy.
Yeah. I love
do whatever you need him to
do. His 30 Rock episode. It's the one where it's Jack's birthday, and he has to complete all the things on his list before he turns whatever age. And one of them was meet Batman. And so Adam West is at his party that no one else shows up to. And Adam West just like gets lost in his library or something.
It's really good. Adam West, funny guy. Funny Batman, funny guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A fun fact, the characters, the Patrick character's band in the movie is Donovan Leitch's actual band.
Oh, nice.
He had a boy band called Nancy Boy, that got together in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Listen.
Hey.
Mm-hmm. It writes itself.
It writes itself. The jokes write themselves. Yeah, this is, of the movies that we're talking about this episode, this is probably the one that's going to have the most staying power for me.
Yes. Well, yeah. There are elements of all of the movies we watched that I think I'm going to be thinking about for quite a while.
Yeah.
This is the one that I'm the most likely to tell someone else to be like, you should check this out. Here's a YouTube link. Yeah. It's a little choppy, but it's worth the watch.
If someone asks for a movie to watch, I might tell them to watch this.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I would do that for the rest of these.
No, meh. We're going to get to it.
This is not our worst episode by a long shot. These are I think we're going to get to the next two movies we're going to talk about, which we should segue to because we've been recording for like an hour. But
we've covered a single film.
The next two movies we're going to talk about are movies I didn't overall care for. The other two are good, but we've had episodes where it's just like dud after dud after dud. This episode, they're all interesting.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into that next one, because the next one, boy howdy, holy moly, holy camole, things happen in this movie. It is called The Locusts.
What a swing!
It is from 1997, and truly had no idea what I was getting into when I booted this one up over on Tubi.
This was one that I feel like I've maybe seen the poster for before. It has that kind of, again, a very Gen X, like Vince Vaughn on the rise, the point where it seemed like Vince Vaughn was going to be like a real serious actor guy. Again, I don't have a ton of background for this one. Just the basic things. I also don't have a lot of notes on it. There's what to talk about, but this was John Patrick Kelly's first and only film. He wrote and directed it. IMDb also credits him for the 2017 Trisha Paytas music video, I Love You, Jesus.
Whoa.
I have no idea if that's true. He's not credited in the actual video.
Yeah.
If that is true, cool. If it's not, someone should get on that. I don't know anything. He seems like a guy who made a movie, it got bad reviews, and he was like, okay.
I just wrote down, who is this guy? Because I'm fast. I want to have a conversation with this man and just be like, what was going on? What was the inspiration for this film?
Yeah. Did you read a lot of Tennessee Williams by chance?
Yes.
It would be really funny if he was like, who?
Wait,
this movie premiered.
Oh no, you go, please. I want to know more about the background of this movie.
It premiered at the Venice Film Festival.
Whoa,
big deal.
Woof.
Some of the other films that premiered at that festival were Hanabi, One Night Stand, Deconstructing Harry, Air Force One, The Second Civil War, Affliction, Mimic, and Gummo.
That's certainly a slate of films.
It's quite a slate of films. You've got, a real grab bag. It ended up getting distributed by MGM and Orion. It opened on 12 screens. It made a total of $40,000.
That's a dud.
Yeah. Well, it premiered at Venice and people didn't like it. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And at this point, I was amazed to even see the Orion name. I thought Orion had gone under by the time we hit the late 90s.
Yeah. I
know it's been
little
revived as a
It's obviously, it's used as a label now. It went bankrupt in the 90s. This movie was 97, so it was sold off to MGM this year, so this was probably one of the movies that Orion had picked up that MGM was like, I guess we'll release that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Truly, that tracks.
Big sort of impact that this movie had is that Jeremy Davies was cast in Saving Private Ryan, because Spielberg's wife is one of the leads of the movie, and so he saw the movie and he said, "Oh, this Jeremy Davies guy is good."
Yeah. I to this day think of Jeremy Davies as the guy who put his psychiatrist in a horse in Hannibal. Famously, and I do love him. I think he's great.
Yeah. I feel like I haven't seen him in a lot of things, but I do like him when I mean,
exactly.
Black Phone, Twister, like I've seen him in the big ones that he's in, but it's like okay, Jeremy Davies.
Yeah. Whenever he pops up, I'm like, oh hey.
Yeah. And yes, Kate Capshaw is a major character in this. It is. She is not someone who pops up in a lot of big things. I feel like after she married Steven Spielberg, she was kind of like, okay, like she doesn't act anymore. Obviously, she wasn't in that many things even when she was in things. I think she's good in this. I think she has to bring a lot of presence to it.
Yes.
She has to, be this kind of looming figure, and she does that pretty well.
Yeah. It's a part that's easy to go super hammy on, and she doesn't quite push it that far.
And what's this movie about?
Well, boy. Okay. This is a movie that, as we sort of alluded to, it's sort of like if you took a Tennessee Williams play and then, like, mushed it up with, like, Forrest Gump and, like... Because like I was thinking about stuff like HUD, like classic Paul Newman, sort of like there's this element to okay. I'm gonna cover the plot first, and then we'll go into sort of the vibe. But it starts with Vince Vaughn sort of drifting into this town. He's hitchhiking. He ends up in some little diner and ends up meeting Paul Rudd, who plays Earl, I believe his name is Earl. And Vince Vaughn's just looking for work. He's a drifter, and Earl manages to get him a job at this farm that they like raise beef cows for turning into hamburgers and stuff. So Vince Vaughn's living in the carriage house on this farm and sort of working for his food and board and a little bit of money. But the farm is run by Kate Capshaw as this sort of I'm trying to find, like, I'm going to say sexually aggressive widow who has a son who goes by Flyboy, who spent a lot of time in a mental institution of some kind. It's also the 50s. This is important to say that it's like the 50s at the same time. And Vince Vaughn ends up befriending the son, Flyboy, and does a lot of work to sort of just doing a lot of hanging out with him and trying to, like, because he's very, I don't know. He's very isolated. His mom's very controlling, and Vince Vaughn's like, "Hey, you're like a normal dude. Let's be normal friends." And there's like a woman that Vince Vaughn's dating at the same time, and it all sort of keeps coming together into a greater and greater mess of like family interpolitics. There's a lot of there's way more incest in the movie than you expect when you start. Should I just lay out the family tree of this family? I feel like that explains it a little.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's this guy. No, we'll start with Kate Capshaw. Okay. Sorry, this movie's crazy. So Kate Capshaw, we meet her.
There's this woman.
So there's this woman, and it's like, oh, this woman's a little crazy and clearly like eats up younger men for breakfast. That's very early on established. And there's her son, and then there's a portrait of her father in the living room, and we quickly figure out that. Well, we quickly figure out that this is all very complicated. But by the end of the movie, the twist is that. So the woman's father. So Kate Capshaw's mom died in childbirth, and so her father basically spent apparently the rest of their lives assaulting her, and so then her son is also like her brother. There's like that happening, but then we also find out that she has also then assaulted her son, and that is why the husband, who we've never met, killed himself, amongst other things. And all of this
as
is
we
sort
will
of
at the end of this episode.
Yes, exactly. And all of this is happening. All of this is being revealed very quickly in the last half hour of the movie, even though you can kind of figure out what's going on. And then at the very fucking end of this movie, Vince Vaughn's like, "Well, oh my God, your mom like sexually abused you. I'm getting you out of here, Flyboy." But then she says, "You can only leave. I won't call the cops on you because I found out that you accidentally murdered somebody." Because that's also a plot of this movie. I've been talking for like 10 minutes straight, but this is the craziness of this movie. She's like, "I'm going to call the police." And he's like, "No." And she's like, "Well, you can only leave if you sleep with me." And so Vince Vaughn sleeps with her finally after the 2 hours of him rebuking her. And Flyboy sees this, and so then he goes and kills himself. But at the same time, Kate Capshaw kills herself. And so this movie ends with the entire family dead and Vince Vaughn just continuing to drift on his way as he leaves this horrible, messed up, really dark, complicated, psychosexual drama that he had to live through for a whole summer. And that's what The Locusts is about.
Yeah. I feel like one of the big problems is that by the time we get to that last half hour, I'm so checked out from like the overall malaise of the movie that it's hard for me to now lean in and say, okay, let me figure out everything that's going on with this family.
What I was sort of saying before about like the classic Paul Newman movies is like I have this deep love for these movies, these Tennessee Williams movies, where there's just sort of lots of people walking around in the dusty heat of the South, and there's like lots of like screen doors slamming shut, and like people eating out in the shade because that's the only cool place in the house, and there's the sound of bugs. The locusts, the titular locusts, are a metaphor for Flyboy and how like he got to really live for one summer before he died, like how locusts do. But like the constant bug sound in the background, I have a just real love for that sort of movie. So I've had a pretty, I wouldn't say I had a good time, but I liked the craft of the movie.
It's the color grading is good. The costuming and
yeah,
you know, it's a good location. It's you know, feels
it all works to sort of.
What do I like about this movie?
Okay. Yeah.
It achieves a vibe. I would say it achieves a vibe.
It achieves a vibe. It's clearly got a lot of big ideas. This is part of where like I want to sit down with the writer-director and just be like, what inspired you to do this? Because like there's all throughout the movie.
My understanding is that he wrote it as a play.
That tracks.
And then he went to film school and he was like, let me make this a movie.
That so tracks. Because the whole, like I literally wrote down like themes. And first I went cigarettes, LMAO, and then I wrote physicality, bodies, because there's like between the farm and like the cows, and there's lots of scenes of castration in the movie that that's like one of the only things on the Wikipedia page is how like people were like leaving the theater because of how gross the castration scenes were, and they're not that bad, but they are pretty gross.
There was a rumor when it was being test screened that there was an actual that there was a very graphic like scene of a bull being castrated, and MGM was like, no, there isn't.
Yeah. And then like Paul Rudd's character has a limp that goes unexplained for the entire movie, and these really big Coke bottle glasses, and like Vince Vaughn's angsty backstory is that like this girl accidentally died when he was a lifeguard. And like, and you know, Flyboy has this very particular physicality to him, but like, it's one of those movies that's like we're gonna say big things about masculinity and bodies and like what it means to lose your innocence.
It's like bodies and spaces.
Yeah.
To give you an idea of this film's sort of tactful use of metaphor and imagery, there is a scene where Kate Capshaw forces her son to watch as she castrates the bull that was his father's bull.
Well, there's the line, "A man becomes a man when he decides he is one," which comes up a number of times, and I wrote it down because I went, that's pretty trans. But then by the end of the movie, I was like, yeah. Okay.
Vince Vaughn.
Let's talk about Vince Vaughn.
Once again, this was the era where Vince Vaughn was like, I'm a hot, sexy, dark new actor, and I'm James Dean. I'm fucking, I'm cool.
Yeah.
And he pulls it off okay. Obviously that did not last for him, and I think it's clear why, but he comes into this movie swaggering. He's from this. Do they say, is he from New York?
He's from Kansas City. He says he's from someplace else.
He's from the city.
But he's from Kansas City because of the police after him, he says he's from some other random city.
Yeah. And he saunters into this small town, and it's hard because there's this very 90s movie, I found myself thinking about some of the Jane Campion movies. I thought about Power of the Dog a lot.
Yeah.
Because Power of the Dog is another mother and son and tall stranger kind of seducing the son movie. I thought about The Piano too, because it has that sort of 90s drama sort of affect when it comes to especially the Vince Vaughn and Flyboy scenes. There's this very hey kid.
Yeah.
This sort of earnest kind of tenderness, like dressed up with this cool guy masculinity that again, Paul Rudd doesn't have to do a lot in this movie. Paul Rudd does fine. Yeah. Vince Vaughn has to play the curiosity and the attraction to Kate Capshaw and to Jeremy Davies. He has to play the fear and the confusion, and he has to kind of be above it all at the same time. And I think I don't think he's bad in this. I think, knowing what we now know about Vince Vaughn, it feels weird to see him in this kind of role. There's a layer of absurdity to it.
Yeah. I've always been a Vince Vaughn fan, partially because I confuse him with that guy who played... We talked about him when we talked about How Do You Know? Because he played the dad of the baby that's had in that movie. And I confuse him with Vince Vaughn a lot, and I like them both. But they're both similar, I'm from New Jersey kind of a guy. But I think Vince Vaughn works here because he sort of plays it for an innocence almost. He plays very I am a young guy who doesn't know what I'm doing, and leaning into that element as opposed to leaning into, because he couldn't pull off the true swagger of a tall, dark, and handsome stranger. So he leans into this I'm an innocent boy on the run and I don't know what I'm doing, that works. But while we're talking about his performance, there is a distinct flavor of homoeroticism in this movie between him and Flyboy that is clearly there on purpose. But it was strong enough that I was genuinely, as someone with no prior knowledge of the movie, I was like, is this gonna go there? Or is this movie gonna be a little gay? And then it wasn't, but it's a strong layer of it.
Yeah, it's sort of another element of the guy who read a lot of Tennessee Williams.
Yeah,
is being compelled by those subtextual gay characters, and being not really thinking deeply about what does it say about it?
Yeah.
What do these men want to do with each other?
Yeah.
The thing with Flyboy is he works in the kitchen. He does not work the fields. And to Vince Vaughn's character, this seems emasculating. He is sort of trying to help Flyboy learn to stick up for himself.
Yeah.
Flyboy is also nonverbal at the start of the movie. He obviously went through a lot of trauma, as it turns out. And he starts to talk a little bit. He's a very like shy, gentle kind of guy. And Vince Vaughn kind of convinces him to stand up to his mother a little bit. There's a scene where Flyboy says that he wants to work in the fields, and Kate Capshaw's like, do you have anything to say, or are you just gonna give me this speech from Vince Vaughn?
Yeah, it's one of those. The other reference point that I thought of during this was in Supernatural. There were always, every now and again, these episodes where it was like they would think they were up against a vampire or whatever, but it was just genuinely a human person. They're always my favorite episodes of Supernatural. Like, I love the one where there's a girl in the walls and they're like, oh, it's a ghost, lay the salt. And then she just walks over the salt and they're like, what the fuck?
There's just a girl in the walls.
There's just a girl in the walls. And this had like that element of both the sort of melodrama of a Supernatural episode and the directness of its message. But all wrapped up in this very intentionally trying to be Tennessee Williams, Paul Newman, two very different Pauls, like thing. Even the setting, like it's giving. Like, I read Of Mice and Men in high school and it changed me, and then I read like the other Steinbeck and it changed me, and then I read like. He's trying to make really high art, and instead he makes like a particularly dark and sort of brutal to watch 90s drama. Yeah.
The score for this movie was done by Carter Burwell.
Yeah.
The obviously most known for his work with the Coen brothers. And this was really like, this was the era where he was kind of doing like 10 movies a year, and he was just like, fucking whatever, take this.
Yeah.
It's a good score, and it helps set that vibe that we're talking about, where it's on a pretty low budget, they do manage to just be like, here's this place, and it feels like a place, and it feels like a time.
I loved the opening particularly. Like, the vibe works the best in that very beginning when we're just sort of just meeting characters. We don't really know what's going on. And as the movie goes and it establishes itself, it sort of takes on a little bit more of the like fried green tomatoes sort of image of the South, of like, this is what the South could be like, but, or not even necessarily the South. This is like the Midwest, I guess. But in the beginning, it works very well. All of the sort of craft plus the score plus everything. I will say that by the end of the movie, by the time we get into the like Flyboy is coming back into the house, but I know that Vince Vaughn is sleeping with his mom, who's also his like. When I took my glasses off, I was like, I cannot handle watching these things happen to these characters right now. I can't handle this. It is intense how dark and brutal they go with it by the end.
Yeah, it is not it does not really go well for anyone.
No. The one that gets me is
I guess Vince Vaughn got away with it. Got away with it, I think.
I know. God knows what happened after this. Like,
he just goes on to the next town and accidentally kills people.
I know. No, the death scene. It's a brutal
I kind of
watch.
like the reading. I kind of like the reading that he intentionally fucked with these people to get them to kill themselves.
Sure, I guess you could get that out of it. This is the kind of
there's
thing
a darkness to his character for sure.
Oh yeah,
there are unspoken elements there.
Yes. There's stuff that's never quite explained. Like, his angsty backstory is sort of explained, but not enough for us to actually know what happened.
Yeah, it's weird because he's the main character, and yet we never quite get a handle on him.
Yeah, that's very, Western for them to do. Like, that's very Man with No Name, but it's Vince Vaughn.
Absolutely.
And we know what his name is.
Man with no name, except for Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. It's certainly a movie I'm going to think about.
Yeah.
Probably not
I will
gonna
say,
rewatch, though.
when I was prepping for this episode, I got the IMDb pages open, and I was like, let me see if I could do all 5 from memory. And the one that I nearly forgot was this one.
Yeah.
So having watched all these movies this week, it was kind of the one that slipped my mind in that moment. But again, I'm recovering from being sick. I'm not firing on all cylinders. And as we talk about it, you know, one of the notes I have is I really have very little to say about this one, but I have a couple things to say.
Yeah. One of the things I wrote down was, how tall is Vince Vaughn?
That's a good question.
Apparently tall. I didn't end up looking it up, but there's a number of shots where I was like,
I was about to look it up, and I was like, I'd rather not know.
Yeah, that's the mystery of the episode. How tall is Vince Vaughn?
Yes, and it's the tough questions like that that have driven us to commit suicide.
Yes. Also, the watching of our next movie, Loki, it wasn't that bad, but
I kind of liked this one.
That tracks.
The way that we normally do this is I give kind of the backstory and you give the plot of the movie. If you need help with the plot, I did take notes to kind of get through all the things.
Perfect. This is it's always bad when the Wikipedia is like, it has to break down the plot by like A and B and C and D and E plot.
Yeah. It's another classic, very Gen X movie, 200 Cigarettes. It's about New Year's Eve, 1981, and a bunch of folks with intertwining stories who are just trying to find love on New Year's Eve and go to this big house party. This was the directorial debut for Risa Bramon Garcia, who is a legendary casting director. She cast, for example, this is a small sample, Something Wild, Desperately Seeking Susan, JFK, Fatal Attraction, Uncle Buck, Sneakers, True Romance, Speed, Twister.
Okay.
She's one of the great casting directors.
Yeah.
And this was her first movie as a director. I don't know if I think she has done another, but she's like, you know, mostly went back into casting.
Yeah.
This is the only film written by Shanna Larson, who I cannot find much about. I assume she's someone who like had a script and got it in front of someone. We're not gonna kill ourselves, by the way. I feel like every time I make the joke, I'm like, do we have to say that we're not gonna do that? Like, obviously we're gonna put out this episode, which sort of implies that we didn't.
Yeah.
And one of the movies that we're gonna talk about, as is always the case with the intro, one of the movies that we're gonna talk about is going to have that gag, but it's just been on my mind the whole time.
Well, yeah.
You'll understand.
Yeah.
You'll understand one movie from now, okay?
You just gotta make it through the insanity of 200 Cigarettes, and everything will make sense.
Yes. This one movie is kind of 5 movies, but after that, it
Yeah.
Christina Ricci was nominated for Worst Supporting Actress for this movie.
Ooh.
Rude. I think she's very good.
Yeah. She's very sweet and cute in this.
She's really good. This is the last film to date in which Ben Affleck and Casey Affleck appear.
Whoa.
What I hear is, and I don't know why Ben Affleck and Casey Affleck haven't been in a movie together since then. I know that obviously Ben directed Casey in Gone Baby Gone. They do stuff together from like a directy-producey kind of vibe. They just haven't been on screen together. But I've heard that for this movie, Ben Affleck took the role as the bartender to kind of elevate this thing that Casey was in, and he was kind of very upset when they used him very prominently in the promo for it, because he was just there to kind of help his brother. The Kate Hudson role of the woman who is on the date with the guy and things keep going wrong.
Oh, right.
And
Yep.
Yeah. That was offered to Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, yeah.
I was offered to Kirsten Dunst, who was like 17 at the time. Who was famously pretty young. I don't know what the vibe was there. When you think about how old some of these people are, it's like Christina Ricci is pretty young and kind of playing even younger.
Yeah.
Kate Hudson's like 20, but Kirsten Dunst would have been 17, and that would have made things really, really interesting. This was the moment where Kirsten Dunst was like, starting to present herself as like an adult movie star after being a child star, but she's still in that like in between kind of space. She would have been good. She would have been very good.
Yeah. It's
not that I think the movie needs like a Kirsten Dunst level performance. Like I don't think we need it's a hangout movie. It's not nobody is here like giving it their all. They're all having fun.
I would say that I thought oh my god, Martha Plimpton. I had to make sure I got her name right. Her as the Monica who's hosting the party that everyone is trying to eventually get to. I thought she did excellent. I love her.
Yeah, she was great.
And I thought she was really the centerpiece of the performances for me.
Yeah. I think pretty much everyone is good in this.
Yeah.
But she's definitely like the one who it kind of hinges on the most.
Yeah.
This movie opened at number 10 at the box office. It ended up making $6.8 million on a $6 million budget. The top movie that weekend was 8mm with Nicolas Cage.
That's the 1999 for you.
Quite a time. The Mother's Baws are credited for the score, but I don't know where there's score. It's a very soundtracky movie.
Yeah.
I was trying to pay attention, and I couldn't really figure out like what part they did.
It's got to be like some interstitial background something. I was wondering about
but it's weird to get fucking Devo for that.
Yeah. They got the two production logos that come up at the very beginning are MTV and Dogstar, and I guess I didn't realize that MTV, maybe they've made a ton of movies and I just haven't been paying attention, but that felt surprising to me. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I think this was a very early MTV movie. And I think over time they became more this was the same year as like Election, which MTV was one of the studios on, like Varsity Blues. This was kind of the era where they were like, we're trying to like finance like very zeitgeisty Gen X movies.
Yeah.
They kind of, I feel like over time it became more like we produced the Jackass movies and we do like, people that we're already in bed with who are making movies. But this was very early on in the MTV life cycle. And Dogstar is a studio that made like 5 movies.
Yeah, I was just looking at it now, and it's like, mostly when I think of Dogstar, I think of Keanu Reeves' band. But yeah, that makes sense. As soon as I saw that and then the soundtrack started coming in, I was like, that's when I got like, okay, I know what this movie is. This is an MTV produced soundtrack movie that was probably trying to make just as much money selling copies of their soundtrack as they were getting people into the theaters to see it.
Yeah, good soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
Big ensemble cast. Yep. A lot of stars of the day, all intermingling and having little sketches. It's that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Would you like to do your best with the plot? And again, I have. This was one movie where I was like, I paused the movie and I was like, let me keep track of who's who and what each person's up to.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of different groups of people that we're seeing throughout the movie, and most of them are just sort of 1 or 2 or 3 people at a time. I am going to consult the Wikipedia to make sure I get them all. So, as previously mentioned, Monica is hosting a party, and it's New Year's Eve, 1981. And so we've got Christina Ricci and her friend are in from Long Island, trying to get to the party because Christina Ricci is Monica's cousin, and they're like teenagers, They're very young and like lost, and Christina Ricci's friend thinks they're going to get killed.
Yeah. They're lost in Alphabet City.
Yep. And they eventually come across these two young punks, aka Casey Affleck and someone else.
Guillermo Diaz.
Thank you. And so the four of them are sort of moving amongst these punk clubs and trying to, and like making out with each other, and eventually going to make it to the party. And then at the same time, we have Paul Rudd plays Kevin. Yeah, he plays Kevin, who is currently out who's having a horrible time. It's his birthday, and he just broke up with his girlfriend, played by Jean Garofalo, who I did not know was in the movie. Wonderful surprise. So he was just broken up with, and it's his birthday, and it's New Year's, and he hates it. And he's hanging out with his good friend, Lucy, played by, oh my God, my brain.
Courtney Love.
Courtney Love, thank you. I was like, oh my God, if I could mess this name up, I'm gonna kill myself. No, I'm gonna return to the sea.
Yeah.
And Courtney Love is kind of fabulous in this movie. Like, her and Paul Rudd are having this like great chemistry. She's trying to cheer him up, but they also have this whole like will they, won't they, and they bump into his ex-girlfriend, Jean Garofalo. They take the taxi cab. There's this cab that everyone in the movie gets in at some point that is, of course, driven by Dave Chappelle.
Yes.
There's Ben Affleck as this bartender that almost everyone bumps into at some point. There are these two friends who end up trying to get the bartender and are just sort of looking for someone to hook up with, which includes one of Monica's ex-boyfriends. So Monica, who's hosting the party, her ex-boyfriend is this British artist who, much like Paul Rudd in a previous movie we discussed, is really bad in bed. And that's sort of a through line. I think that's almost everyone.
I'll brush through a couple more.
Yes.
Kate Hudson, who we talked about,
thank
plays
you.
Cindy, who's on a date with this guy Jack J. Moore, and things keep going wrong. There's Bridget and Caitlin, who
those are the two friends.
The two friends who Bridget breaks up with. The Scottish guy,
the artist guy.
And let's see, Ginny Garofalo we did, Disco Cabbie we did. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. The only other main player is Elvis Costello as himself.
Yes, who
he has like he like very briefly shows up earlier in the movie, and I was like, oh my God, Elvis Costello cameo, that's crazy. And they like play Radio or something, and then but then at the end of the movie he's at the party, and that becomes suddenly like a big part of the movie.
Because the sort of final, like, you know, at first Martha Plimpton is upset because no one came to her party, and her friend,
there's her friend
Hillary, Catherine Kellner, is like, people will come. It's New Year's Eve. They're gonna come later. You know, she ends up falling asleep and missing when everyone shows up to her house. She wakes up the next morning to discover that everyone did have a party and Elvis Costello was there and she missed it.
Yes. And I think Elvis Costello helped produce this soundtrack. There was some other way that he was related.
I will also mention that, like how the band Nancy Boy appears in The Size of Watermelons, the band at the goth club is Girls Against Boys, a very influential 90s post-hardcore band who were on the Clerks soundtrack. They were on the Hedwig soundtrack. They were like, you know, it's like that's another like big that's the kind of cameo you get when you're in an MTV movie. You get Elvis Costello and you get Girls Against Boys.
And of course Courtney Love like being a main character.
And she's great.
She's so good. She's really good.
She's really good.
I concur with you that like everyone who's in this is really doing a great job with what they've got, and they all clearly know that this isn't high art. Like no one's like trying their heart out. They're all doing just enough to bring like a fun ensemble piece together.
Yeah, I think the part that had the most heart for me and the part that I was the most charmed by was the Christina Ricci, Gabby Hoffman with the punks, and Casey Affleck, who is not someone I'm usually charmed by. I found pretty charming in this role.
Yeah, they do the thing where the girls are like scared of them at first because they seem really like hard and they're punks, but then Casey Affleck in particular is this like just like affable guy who he's just looking for love, and he's he ends up with the woman who's everything went wrong on her date, who also is just sort of looking for this like uncomplicated I'm in love with you after one date kind of a thing. And that's a sweet...
Yeah.
In
the ending, sort of the resolution for everyone is they hook up with someone from another story.
Yeah.
So, like, Christina Ricci hooks up with Jay Moore. The Scottish guy hooks up with Hillary, and he's still... They have this whole intense night-long, lovemaking session. And then in the morning, he's like, be honest, was I terrible? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Bridget hooked up with the bartender. Janine Garofalo hooked up with Elvis Costello.
Yes.
Caitlin hooked up with the cabbie, who also came to the party, and Dave Chappelle kind of narrates this montage of photos at the end that's like, wow, what a great party.
Yeah, that was really weird because the movie goes and then they're all at the party, and then it sort of fades to black, fades up, and we see all these little vignettes of where all the characters ended up. And I think there must have been some studio note that was like, this isn't obvious enough what happened. And then they went in and were like, okay, we'll get Dave Chappelle to explain all of the, like, what happened at the party, even though we just saw what happened at the party. Which
it does feel like they got Chappelle in the booth for a day. And they were like, just
explain what happened. we'll get Elvis back for a day, and we'll take some Polaroids we can throw up.
Yeah. Look at these pictures and tell me what the disco cabbie would say.
Yeah. This is, of course, also when Dave Chappelle gets in his transphobia. His mandatory contracted transphobia is in that final bit.
Gotta squeeze a little bit in there just at the end. They made it the rest of the movie.
I know.
But they were like, it's in Chappelle's contract. Chappelle is a fun addition to this movie overall. I think his character, the disco cabbie, is a fun character, and like especially him at the beginning of the movie, kind of setting the tone for like, it's the early 80s. We're here to have a good time. It's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And then just, his first two passengers are Paul Rudd and Courtney Love, and Paul Rudd is like miserable. It's a fun contrast to set it up.
Yeah. I don't have a ton. This is the one I don't have a ton to say about.
Sure. The gag with Ben Affleck's character is that like the girls, go. Everyone want like a lot of characters want to go on a date with him because they're like, ooh, I'm gonna hook up with the bartender on New Year's Eve, and then he turns out to be like a landlord.
He's like a finance bro.
They start talking to him, and they're like, oh, this guy sucks.
Yeah. He's talking about, like, his financial options with his real estate deals.
Yeah, there's not much else to say.
Yeah.
Once we've gone over what each plot line is, not much happens beyond that. Janine Garofalo enters the story because she catches the part of this movie is that Paul Rudd and Courtney Love are like, why haven't we ever hooked up?
Yeah.
And it reaches a point where they're in the bathroom and they're like, let's make it happen. And then Janine Garofalo walks in and she's like, wow, I broke up with you yesterday. But yeah, it's a lot of vignettes, and I found some of them charming and some of them funny and some of them a little bland. But overall, it was a vibe I got into.
Yeah, I found that by like the last third, I was getting just sort of, everything's clearly building up to this party, and I was kind of like, okay, guys, come on. I was expecting there to be more party, but instead they like get there and it fades to black, which I thought was an interesting choice. But I don't know.
It's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
It's about the friends we made along the way.
It's about New York City, New Year's Eve.
New York is like it's
only
like
in New York. It's sort of like a character in it. So yeah, I don't think we need to dwell on 200 Cigarettes too much. The title is a reference to the present that because is it Courtney Love that Courtney Love gets him a pack, like a 10-pack of cigarettes,
as a birthday present
for his birthday, and so that would be 200 cigarettes. They don't say it explicitly, but that's it's also just kind of the vibe, like
everyone is smoking
200, everyone's smoking. It's like they go through 200 cigarettes. It's like there are almost 200 characters in the film.
I genuinely don't think there was a single scene where there wasn't at least one main character smoking a cigarette. Like, constant. Really made you think about the early 80s.
Yeah. 1981.
What people were getting into.
Reagan.
Yeah.
Reaganomics.
Yeah.
That's I think a big part of the Ben Affleck character is that he's like, Reaganomics, I gotta be on my grind set.
Yeah. And all the girls are like, ew.
Yeah. Speaking of 200, our next movie is
Another
Days.
2. Yes. Which ended up more than 2 days occurred in this movie.
True. It sets a 2-day timeline, and then it's like,
yeah, it defies your expectation a little.
Yeah, which I like we talked about in Fundamentals of Caring, how it like sets up this road trip thing, and then it goes on all these diversions. I like when it sets an expectation and then like throws it off in a very deliberate way.
Yeah.
This movie premiered at the 2003 Rotterdam International Film Festival. Some other films that showed there include Whale Rider, 24-Hour Party People, City of God, Russian Ark, Unknown Pleasures, Punch Drunk Love.
Damn, that was quite a lineup. Damn, I should rewatch Whale Rider.
Rotterdam that year.
Whale Rider was like a favorite of mine as a child, and I haven't seen it in 1,000 million years. But damn, I loved that movie as a kid.
This, it so I mentioned how just to talk about it's as we like to say on the show, it all comes together.
Yeah, it's all connected.
The Locusts, Spielberg watches it, his wife's in it. He's like, I'm gonna cast this Jeremy Davies guy. This movie also never went to theaters as like Size of Watermelons, but Tom Hanks saw it.
Yes,
and he said, I like the cut of this director's jib, Sean McGinley. And so he bankrolls Sean McGinley's next movie, The Great Buck Howard, which happens to, I'm sure by coincidence, star Tom Hanks' son.
Yes. Yes.
I have not seen The Great Buck Howard, but I've heard it's fun.
Yeah, this feels like a movie that someone would see and be like, interesting. He's got ideas. It
definitely.
As I was watching this movie, I couldn't help but think about like the exact class where we would have watched it and talked about it in college. Like I was literally like, okay, within the framework of the digital cinema class taught by this professor at Sarah Lawrence, this would have been in that week where we talked about these topics. It is sort of built to be a class discussion movie where you're like, what is a documentary? What does it mean to move in between types of cinema. What is the lens and the image and the human,
Yeah. It's definitely a movie about film school.
Yes.
In many, many ways.
Yes.
And a movie about being a film student, even more so than it's about being a filmmaker.
Yeah.
It was co-written by Carl Wiedergott, who plays Charlie, one of the filmmakers who helps make the Paul Rudd character's film. And he was also a voice actor on The Simpsons for many years.
Many years.
He would play like a lot of, he played Jimmy Carter, he played Bill Clinton. He would play a lot of like kind of one-off characters, but that was sort of his most prominent thing, is that he was like a Simpsons guy. And him and Adam Scott are the two filmmakers who help Paul Rudd make this film, which we're going to get into the plot in a minute.
Yeah.
Ships Passing in the Night. I think we could have done an Adam Scott series and had a great time.
Yeah.
Adam Scott and Paul Rudd are two birds of a feather in a way. I think this won't be the only time Adam Scott shows up in this series, but it was nice to see it.
Yeah.
Whenever I see young Adam Scott, I'm like, hi.
Yeah. Yeah. And this movie, the tone of this movie is a very interesting blend of very dark comedy and I would almost say not quite horror, but it's sort of playing with psychological horror elements very purposefully. But it's a role that feels like it leans closer to like where Adam Scott has gotten in his career now, where in the middle there he sort of had to do his like rom-com Parks and Rec, I'm a nice guy thing.
Very true. I actually think that Paul Rudd and Adam Scott were roommates.
That would make sense.
If I recall correctly, they're very good friends in real life and have been for a very long time.
That would make sense. And that would doubly make sense as to how they got Paul Rudd at the amount of famous he was to be in that season of Parks and Rec.
Yeah. And I don't know what the casting process for this movie was like. It's entirely possible that either Adam Scott convinced Paul Rudd to do it or vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's...
I'll
break down the plot, because the plot is fairly simple.
Yeah.
The basic premise of this movie is that we are watching a documentary, sort of. The premise of this movie is that Paul Rudd has decided he's going to kill himself in 2 days. He's this struggling actor who hasn't gotten any work in a long time, and his girlfriend broke up with him, and he doesn't have a ton of friends, and he lives far away from his parents, and he's just really depressed, and he's decided, I'm going to kill myself in 2 days. So he asks some of his buddies who are filmmakers to make a documentary about his last 2 days of life. And those filmmakers are Adam Scott, who's kind of this like hotshot film student who really has like a vision for what the movie is going to be and wears these like wild sunglasses and sweatsuits the entire time. And the other filmmaker who wants to make like a more real documentary. And everyone sort of thinks that Paul Rudd is joking and not actually going to kill himself. And so we meet these other characters in his life, including his parents, who make like a surprise appearance. No one knows that they're going to be there, but Adam Scott's like, I've got to like, he's making his gonzo filmmaking decisions. And it ends up taking longer than 2 days, but then eventually Paul Rudd does have a suicide attempt that he then survives. He gets himself out of his car, and the movie ends in the place that I've seen a lot of similar movies about. It's wild that there are enough movies about basically the topic of like a dude being like, my life sucks, I'm going to kill myself, and then at the very end he has a like, actually I'm going to keep living moment. But the most interesting thing about the movie for me is both the textural quality of how it was made. Like, I would love to know, like, were they filming it on, like, 16 millimeter or something and then blew it up? It's got the texture of, like, the first Evil Dead movie, but it's from 2003. Like, it's a very specific sort of feeling of the image. And then all throughout the movie, it's sort of going back and forth between the documentary footage, which is sort of this, like, washed out, smaller aspect ratio, and then this other footage that's full color and like the full widescreen, but like it's sort of playing with the idea of like who is filming who and what is being captured and who is capturing the footage that you're seeing. There's 2 different cameras in the documentary crew, so there's like 2 different types of footage we're seeing.
Yeah, there's the color documentary footage of Adam Scott and Carl Wiedergott like actually capturing like the interviews and things like that.
Yeah.
There's the black and white behind the scenes documentary footage because the 2 of them have roped in 2 other groups of film students who are making a documentary about the making of the documentary, which is very fun sort of element there. And I kind of brushed up against this part. There are also scenes that are just in the reality of the film.
Yeah.
I think like with the form that they're going for, I would have preferred if maybe after the attempt we get our first like real life footage. I think it would have maybe hit harder in that way. And when like early on we start to see scenes that are not part of the documentary, it's like, are you not committed to this? Like, for instance, one of the sound guy in this is Josh from Blair Witch.
Yeah.
and so I feel like I'm thinking about Blair Witch a little bit when I'm watching it, and that's part of what, you know, it's doing that like realistic mockumentary thing. It's, you know, but then I'm like, but you kind of broke it a little bit because you're not committing to the realism.
Yeah, there's the found footage element that is part of why the found footageness added to, with the bleakness, like the darkness of the comedy, made it, and also Paul Rudd's performance and the performance of the like major side characters around him. I didn't like, it was weird to look at the descriptions of this movie where it's called a comedy because it's very sad. And
yeah,
even though there's bits that are clearly supposed to sort of be tickling the comedic tone, it just comes off as sort of like the absurdity of real life LA more than any kind of like pointed attempt at comedy. Like, it just feels like that's just how weird LA is.
Yeah, there are certainly comedic situations.
Yeah.
It sort of feels like it's a comedy in the way that like The Bear is a comedy.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
I watched this movie on YouTube, and the title of the video that I watched was Failed Actor Hates His Life, 2 Days, Paul Rudd, Satire Comedy Movie.
Interesting. I watched this on Canopy, actually. With your library card, you can watch lots of things for free on Canopy. Go ask your local librarian about it.
Yes. Unfortunately, the Philly Canopy collection is not very good.
Oh, all right.
But sometimes you get some good stuff there.
Sometimes you can get a library card to other libraries and just use it to expand your Libby and Canopy collection. But yeah, this is also another movie with Donald Logue. We got to get into that.
Another Logue. And Donald Logue has a smaller role in this, but in a way that I think does make a compelling sort of contrast to Size of Watermelons, and it's interesting to look at them next to each other. He plays Paul Rudd's like old friend from school who is now a hotshot producer.
Yeah. The direct watch, like almost this is the way to watch both of these movies, is to watch The Size of Watermelon and then get up, make a snack, and then put in 2 days like I did. Because it makes for this very seamless sort of one. The Size of Watermelon is a bunch of young people making a really like hopeful, kind of goofy movie about being artists in LA and trying to make it, and what does that mean? And then 2 days is like the 10 years later, not even 10 years later, it was made 7 years later, where it's like, well, you didn't make it. You're still stuck as a PA. You still haven't made that big thing you've been wanting to make. What do you do about it?
Yeah, it's it definitely is interesting. It's interesting to think about the characters from The Size of Watermelons becoming like being the same characters.
Yeah,
there's a way to read it that way. And it's the you have the schism between Adam Scott and Carl Wiedergott, where Adam Scott is like, you know, a narrative filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
He is thinking about the beginning, middle, and end of this thing.
Yeah.
He thinks from the beginning, this is going to end with Paul Rudd, you know, being snapped out of it. And obviously he's not going to do it. And it's going to make a great story. And Carl Wiedergott from the beginning is like a documentarian. He's like, this is an interesting process that I want to look at. But we don't know for sure that he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
He's sort of the only character because they do these interviews with like his friends, his family. They try to get his ex-girlfriend. They talk to people who used to date him, like, and they're all just like, well, he's not going to do it. and you feel it because like you can watch it and even as an audience, you're like, he's making a movie about how you're going to kill yourself in 2 days doesn't feel like something you'd do if you were actually going to kill yourself. It feels very gimmicky and self-absorbed in a way that makes you relate to what these characters are saying. But then it kind of makes you think about, you know, how these characters kind of... And it's another thing that people come back to. It's something that Donald Logue's character says and some other characters say is like, this guy's life's not so bad. He was on Family Matters.
Yeah.
he's a working actor. He gets stuff like he, you know, he's having a hard time, but if he was, you know, and it's something that happens in real life where, you know, people who are suicidal aren't always the people you expect. And they're not always people who are showing obvious warning signs or are clearly miserable. And I think this film, even though it's dark and kind of satirical with it, I think overall kind of handles that suicide element pretty well.
Yeah.
I think the ending, it is that kind of like, you know, I'm going to try living thing that a lot of these types of movies have. But there is a realism in it in that what does happen a lot of the time is people have suicide attempts and they fail, and then they're like, well, now I kind of just have to pick up the pieces here.
Yeah.
And it's I think this is the one movie of what we watched this week this month where Paul Rudd is really the juice.
Yeah.
Like, his performance is what makes this movie pretty good, in my opinion.
He holds it together, because especially in a movie like this, where the whole point is that it's sort of an assemblage of all these different pieces, you need to have a through line. And while everyone who's in it is doing a good job at what they're doing, Paul Rudd as the emotional core, especially in something that's dealing with such dark themes, like he holds it together. And there's one scene in the middle where we see him audition. Like, he gets an audition for this like indie movie that's going to come out, and the director of the movie is played by the guy that plays Chuck in Supernatural, and that was a goofy surprise for me to see him. I was like, oh, you guy. But we see this audition, and it's kind of like the audition scene in La La Land, where it sort of leaves the movie for a minute, and we just get the like emotional moment with this actor sort of putting themselves into the role and putting everything into it. And it's stuff like that peppered throughout, even with the everything else going on in the movie, that holds it together. I think the thing that I liked the most about the movie is definitely sort of the questions it's asking about, you know, documentarian ethics and form within both documentary and fiction. I'm just such a sucker for those like moving in and out of the screen and like passing through the barrier of the lens. Like, that's stuff that I just go crazy for. So that was something that in particular excited me about this movie.
I would say especially when, like, as we close on the end of the movie and the parents are great. Carol and Aaron.
The parents are so good.
They're great parents.
That part of the movie hit so hard because they felt so real. And that was where I wrote down the note of, like, all of the acting in this movie is this very, like, naturalistic, understated acting that even the goofiest characters like Adam Scott still feels like, oh yeah, I've met that guy. I know that film student,
Yeah. And I think the most compelling part of that, like, kind of ethical sort of thing that the movie's wrestling with is when people realize that he actually is going to try to kill himself, they want no part of it. They're like, and I think Carl Wiedergott or someone else says to that effect, like, nobody actually wants to watch a guy kill himself.
Yeah.
Like it speaks to kind of, we're compelled, the stories that we're compelled by are there often has to be that layer of separation, and it's true in documentaries, it's true in fiction. Like, when things become real in a way, nobody really wants to see that, and even people like Carl Wiedergott, who like swears that he's going to shoot this movie, and like is kind of with him to the end, does seem to kind of think he's going to do it at the beginning, and has that documentarian ethic of like, I'm just observing, I'm not interfering. He even like that breaks down when he's really confronted with, are you going to film a guy killing himself?
Whenever I think about documentary ethics in this particular realm, I think about the movie Bully, which was a documentary that came out it was a while ago now, and it was a big deal when it came out because they would just shoot these scenes of like pretty horrific bullying. Especially like, there was like scenes on a bus that I remember people talking about, and the filmmakers just stood back the whole time, and it sort of got the public to question this thing that I think we ended up talking about a lot in film school, because you're talking about like Nanook in the North and like the actual like history of like what is a documentary and what makes it a documentary. But I always think about that as sort of the example of like when the general public had to realize like, oh, when I watch a documentary about like horrific war crimes or whatever, I am just watching a person stand back and stand away and not do anything. And I appreciated the movie pushed it that far.
I don't remember who said this line. It's just a line that I got down, but it was a funny one. Someone says, you might want to think about moving to the West Side. It's a lot less depressing.
Yeah. That's like right near the end. There's also a bit with, because throughout the movie, he keeps telling the crew like, oh, do whatever you want. All my debt's going to go away when I die. So like, let's rack up my credit card bill. So he's buying them all like, he buys them all like really fancy leather outfits and says they look like Oasis at one point. And he's getting them all these meals, and he goes and just, this one guy's like, well, my car needs some work. And he's like, cool, let's go work on your car. And there's this great character who I think must have been somebody they pulled off the street, who is this mechanic. And he has like painted nails and crazy hand tats. And he's like smoking like the bare end of a cigarette. He's like, so the way to do it is, what you want to do is you want to get a hose. Yeah. And it's one of those moments where it just, the real beauty of non-actors and sort of like just moments in cinema that stick out really stood out to me.
Yeah, that was a really cool character. The neat little side character that I clocked was Lillian Lehman plays the woman who recognizes Paul Rudd from Family Matters in the elevator, and I think she's really good in that scene. The nice little meta thing about it is that she is like an actor who does bit parts on sitcoms, especially at that time, but throughout her whole career, she has really been that actor. So for her to play the person who, and I'm sure she's had that conversation millions of times. So, and it's a great moment of like, you've heard throughout the movie, like, this guy has been a working actor. He does get work. He's in commercials and a couple things like that. To actually have that moment of like, weren't you on Family Matters? And he describes he played this like homeless guy who they brought in who had a drinking problem, and it's a very realistic kind of role for an actor like that to have played. But you're just like, it adds that level of realism, and it sort of takes you out, and you're like, it's a moment of recognizing like, this guy. And we see that throughout the movie, like with the audition, where it's like, this guy's a decent actor. This guy has a potential bright future ahead of him. it's an interesting wrinkle in the story, because there are moments where people want to kind of, put things onto him, like talk about him being miserable all the time, or paint him this way or that way. But then when you actually see him, he's like, and this is something that Paul Rudd can convey really well, is he'll joke. He's a very, very plain spoken average guy.
Yeah.
When you're just talking to him. And I think that, is a hard thing to pull off, and he does it really well.
Yeah, it's sort of the thing we were even talking about at the start of the episode, where Paul Rudd doesn't bring baggage into a role like this. He can just be this dude who, the character is also named Paul. So the whole movie involves people talking to Paul Rudd and being like, "Hey, Paul," which adds a whole other layer of like meta surrealism to the experience of watching the movie.
Yeah, and of course, in this era, Paul Rudd was, this was like 8 years after Clueless or whatever, and he was like a working actor who probably, had months where he didn't have any gigs, and had trouble getting a hold of his agent and things like that. Like there are feelings here that feel real for Paul Rudd and Adam Scott and a lot of the people who are in this movie, who are all like not big stars, but are like working actors.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. This would be like late season Friends. So like what he is doing at this point is playing a bit part in a long running sitcom. Like, getting a part in Friends at that point in time was huge. Like that would make people's career to play like one dude in an episode of Friends. But it just clicked in my brain that I was like, oh yeah, he did. This would have been sort of around that time. Overall,
I think Paul Rudd's very good in this movie. Yeah. I think the tone's a little weird. And again, I brushed up against the parts that are not like in the document, like having parts that are just, scenes that are not in the documentary, or in the documentary, I thought was felt like a cop out a little bit. But yeah, I think it's a very it's a really strong hook.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this guy's making a movie and he's like, I'm gonna kill myself in 2 days, and we're making a movie about it. But it's also a hook where it's like, there's only 2 ways it can go.
Yeah.
And and even as you're watching it, you're kind of having the meta textual conversation of like, they're not gonna have this character kill himself, are they?
Yeah.
But then you're like, maybe they are. And in the end, they don't. And okay,
yeah,
it's not like it's not a mind blowing ending. It's a fairly conventional ending.
It's a really good premise that once you start writing the script, you're like, oh shit, I got to figure out the ending.
Yeah.
There's a movie that Burt Reynolds did that has a very similar premise, where it's called This Is the End, and it's just this guy who decides he's going to kill himself, and the whole movie is him trying to make it happen. And then stuff keeps getting in the way of him happening it. And it's like one of the Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise movies. So it's like a genuinely goofy comedy, but it's similar. I just couldn't help but think about it in the way that it's like, it's like the same premise, but taken from a very different angle. And I don't know. It seems strange to me that there are 2 movies that have basically the same exact premise and end the same way, of them like at the beach being like, maybe life is worth it.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. Maybe Sean McGinley saw that Burt Reynolds movie and was like, what if this was like dark and fucked up?
What if it was like Blair Witch?
Yeah. What if I got Josh? In my notes I have Josh all caps with 5 exclamation points.
They got him.
There's one more movie.
There is one more movie.
And we've been on a roll. This last movie is called The Baxter.
Mm-hmm.
It is the directorial debut for Michael Showalter.
Our old friend.
Director of films such as Hello, My Name is Doris, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and he did some other.
Let me just pull up my DVDs
Big
I have
Sick.
right next to me on the table.
Big Sick, the one with Jim Parsons that he did.
He did The Idea of You.
The Idea of You. He's a guy who does very sweet romantic comedies.
Yes.
And he is also, of course, part of the State with David Wayne and Joe Trulio and all of our friends.
Ken Marino.
Yes. The story behind this movie is I have a little more on this one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So this one was also a festival premiere. It premiered at Tribeca in 2005. Some other movies that premiered at Tribeca in 2005 are Transamerica, The Interpreter, and House of Wax.
Less of a great slate than some of these other slates we've been hearing about.
This was early for Tribeca. This was like they were kind of still figuring things out.
We got that Jared Padalecki House of Wax.
It was released on 47 screens by IFC Films, who produced it. Made about $200K. Was not, never got like a wide release or anything like that. The top release the weekend it opened was The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yep. Yep.
With our old friend Paul Rudd. There was a website for this movie.
Oh.
TheBaxterMovie.com. A version of that website is still up. A version of that website was, I think, remade and put back up by some anonymous person who just wanted to put it up as a time capsule. The person who did it notes, in many ways, the Baxter foreshadowed the beta male comedies that would dominate indie cinema for the next decade, from 500 Days of Summer to Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah.
The original version of the website is also accessible through the Internet Archive. And it's got a lot of fun little Easter eggs and things. The quiz, there was an Are You a Baxter quiz that is unfortunately no longer available. There is a version of it that you can play in a New York Post article that's like an interview with Michael Showalter. They included at the end of the article. I did take that quiz, and my results were, you've got your Baxterish side under control. You may have moments of squareness, but you can be spontaneous. I think that's very fair.
Yeah.
Michael Showalter says, the film harkens back to the great screwball comedies of the 30s and 40s. He said, David Wayne and I had been writing a spoof of romantic comedies.
I wonder what that was.
And we started thinking about this stereotypical character. We started imagining an entire movie about him. This interview was with him and David Wayne and fucking Michael Ian Black. And they riffed a lot on like who Baxter's like in movies and in real life are. Showalter says John Roberts is a Baxter. David Wayne says Terry Garr in Tootsie is an example of a female Baxter.
Yeah.
Showalter says Superman's a leading man, but Clark Kent is a Baxter. Michael Ian Black says Michael Bloomberg is Giuliani's Baxter. And then they get into governors a little bit. They're like George Pataki's a Baxter. Mario Cuomo's not a Baxter. Derek Jeter is so not a Baxter. Howard Stern is not a Baxter. There are a million subsets. There's the asshole boyfriend Baxter, like Drew Barrymore's old boyfriend of The Wedding Singer. When he shot the movie, he said that Brooklyn was the Baxter to Manhattan's leading man, and that's why he chose to like have Brooklyn be such part of the movie. By the time it came out, he said Queens is the new Baxter. Joey's a leading man. Ross is a Baxter.
Yeah.
U.S. is a leading man. Canada's a Baxter. Bill Clinton's a leading man. Al Gore is a Baxter. They went on a long thing about what this Baxter archetype means. The interesting thing to me is that the character, the name Baxter doesn't seem to come from anywhere.
No.
Like there's no classic example of this where a character was named Baxter. Like, I think it's just meant to be kind of like a fancy, like, unthreatening name.
Yeah. It also comes from Bachelor. Like, it's like a shortened version of that. They explain it in the very beginning of the movie, but this was the movie I watched first, so it's been a minute, and I don't remember exactly what they say.
Yes. Another element of the website was that Michael Showalter did an opening week journal, which he only did 2 entries for. He did day 1 and day 4, and then that's it. Nice. But, you know, he went on tangents about dressing kind of grunge, and then grunge is dead. And you know, he just went on a lot of, you know, tangents and made a little thing. Also, he got some testimonials from some people who were in the movie. I'm not going to go through anything. There are a lot of gems to be found on this website.
Yeah.
But Elizabeth Banks gave the following quote: "A lasting memory was working with a true francophile and faux sophisticate, Justin Theroux. Justin exudes French. For instance, he was the inspiration for my character wearing a beret. Think of my character without a beret. Clearly not the same."
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong. Like the beret is a big part of the Elizabeth Banks character in this. David Wayne also had a quote. He said, "I was pleased to get a call from Michael Showalter about his film project, The Baxter. I remembered Michael fondly as we'd worked together on such projects as Random Play and MTV Movie Awards. I'm great." He goes on a whole thing, but at the end he says, "I'm grateful to be continuing to collaborate with Michael, as I'm now the regional manager of the Baxstore, the retail chain devoted to all manner of Baxter merchandise, including but not limited to Baxter buttons."
Oh, that's so fun.
They had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
They had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, Paul Rudd did not give a quote. He must have been busy.
Well, he even has like a really small role in the movie.
True.
This was like the least amount of Paul Rudd of any of the movies we watched this month, anyway.
Yeah, probably. I'd have to think back on it, but probably thus far, it's the least Rudd, for your buck.
Shall I explain the plot of the movie?
It's best to just get into the plot of the movie.
Okay. So the Baxter is all about, as I was sort of saying, the Bachelor character. And so in every rom-com, as we were sort of, you know, they explained it well in that interview. There's always the guy that gets left at the altar. And the movie starts with Michael Showalter being left at the altar by Elizabeth Banks for Justin Theroux. And so the movie is about Michael Showalter plays this accountant who's this very square, very sort of shy, neat. I genuinely thought this was a British production because everyone is dressed like it's like an American take on like everyone's in like newsboy caps and like cute little coats and things. And as the Baxter character, when he meets Elizabeth Banks, they like hit it off and they sort of start dating, and she's a client for his at this accountant agency and everything is going great. But then when they go home to meet her parents, she comes across her ex-boyfriend, played by Justin Theroux, as he always does in all of these movies. It was very fun to get back to basically the exact archetype that I watched him do so many times in our first month of this podcast. And they end up reconnecting. But at the same time, the love story that's really at the core of the movie is Michael Showalter and Michelle Williams, who plays this temp, who is his secretary for a day because his actual secretary has a cold. And they have this very tender, very Michael Showalter little romance where it's sort of these two very like weird, square, like when in the first time we meet Michelle Williams, she sits down at her desk and she first takes a whole lamp out of her purse in a great sight gag to make her desk a little bit more personal. And then she takes out the book she's reading, and it's the dictionary. And Michael Showalter's like, I also read the dictionary. And then they go back and forth just like talking about what word they've made it up to. And so at the end of the movie, Michael Showalter goes and chases after the woman that he wants to be with, who's Michelle Williams, and she's about to go off with Paul Rudd to move to California or whatever. I don't remember. And then in that moment, Paul Rudd becomes the Baxter because Michelle Williams, of course, chooses her love, Michael Showalter. And so at the very end of the movie, we have the same parallel to the beginning, but now it's Paul Rudd who's getting in his car and sadly driving away because he's always going to be a bachelor. And there's lots of like little gags all throughout. It's a very sweet, very fun movie. It has continued to cement my opinion that I just adore Michael Showalter's filmmaking, for better or worse. I love what he does.
Yeah, I really liked the gag where Paul Rudd is like the old college friend of Justin Theroux's current girlfriend.
Yeah, every single character has that other. It's like everyone is in their own rom-com individually, and then they're all. We just happen to be watching the one for Michael Showalter's character.
Everyone's getting Baxtered.
Yes, in a perpetual cycle.
It's in a perpetual cycle. The dictionary joke is an example of a joke that feels like a draft of a joke from They Came Together. Like, obviously there's the fiction joke and They Came Together. There's a character named Wendell Wims, which feels like a first draft of Egbert Flaps. You can definitely tell how some of these ideas are brewing, and this is clear. As Showalter said, this is like, we were making this general rom-com spoof, and we were like, this character is interesting.
Yeah.
Let's go on a tangent and do this. And I think Showalter was originally just going to write it, and then like IFC, the producers who got behind it, were like, "What if you directed it?" And he was like, "Okay." And he wasn't originally going to star in it either. I think he plays the role of the Baxter pretty well.
Yeah.
I think this is the most. He's a guy who's like obviously in a lot of these, a lot of his own movies, and a lot of David Wayne's movies and things like that. And I feel like I never quite latch on to him. He's always just like a reliable, like, a reliable player. And this is sort of his like time to shine the most. And I think he does really well. In Roger Ebert's review, he said that Michael Showalter is too good at playing a Baxter.
Yeah.
And you feel like you can't fully root for him because he's like, because you almost want him to not get the girl.
I don't know.
Which I think.
Finish your thought.
I think it's true. I think it's true with Elizabeth Banks in a sense where like, Justin Theroux, I see like from his perspective, like it's fun to get that perspective of how Justin Theroux is like getting in the way of his own thing, his whole thing, and usually we'd be following the Justin Theroux thing, but you are also like, Justin Theroux is like a good guy who doesn't really like goes to all these great lengths, and part of it is that Michael Showalter has this very planned and preppy kind of thing where he wants to take her to the fanciest restaurant, and Justin Theroux is like, let's just go to this little spot down the street and knows the old lady who runs this gastropub
where they only serve burgers.
They only serve burgers and fries. There is no menu.
My thing with Michael Showalter as a leading man, and it's very similar to how I feel about him as Coop in Wet Hot American Summer, is that I really like and have always liked those sorts of characters, that like Hugh Grant rom-com character of the like stumbling, tall, awkward, sweet one. Like I've just always loved that archetype. And so in both Wet Hot American Summer and this, I'm just rooting for him the entire time. Where it's like,
sure.
But of course, introducing Michelle Williams so early means that, like, it's the same thing in every rom-com where they introduce the character that you're like, they're not going to end up with. So, like, he's not going to end up with Elizabeth Banks because know he's going to end up with Michelle Williams because it's sweet and it's perfect and, like, that's how it's setting up. So the whole time I'm always very much rooting for him. But I am rooting for him to be with, like, the person he's supposed to be with in classic rom-com form.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like it's structured in a way where it's trying to have its cake and eat it too in terms of having the classic rom-com story and the parody rom-com story running parallel to each other.
Yeah. And
I think there are times where I was like, I can't tell if this is being sincere right now.
Yeah.
I do think that, like, I root for him and Michelle Williams to get together. Like definitely that's what I'm rooting for. And I think we do sometimes spend a little too much time with him trying to make it work with Elizabeth Banks. And it's like, I know this is not going to work because I've seen a rom-com before.
Yeah. 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 Probably one of my favorite things about the whole movie was Michelle Williams. She is so sweet and so good and so lovable. And, like, she's amazing in everything. I'm a big Michelle Williams fan. Mm-hmm. But in this, she's exuding the other performance that I was thinking about the most is in The Apartment, the Billy Wilder movie. My brain is shutting down, so I can't remember the actress. You're gonna have to help me.
It's Katharine Hepburn, right?
No. The Apartment.
Oh, it's Shirley MacLaine.
Thank you. Shirley MacLaine in The Apartment is basic, like, Michelle Williams is giving this, like, 2000s edition of Shirley MacLaine in The Apartment. And in a way, Michael Showalter is also giving the Jack Lemmon, like they're playing this very old school rom-com tropes, but in the specific way that it's the, like, sweethearted ones and not the Katharine Hepburn fast talking, like, Cary Grant way that you get in, like, His Girl Friday or something,
Yeah. I was probably thinking of His Girl Friday, which is not, but it was,
Yeah, I got you.
A lot of rom-coms coming together.
Yeah.
Let's cut that.
Let's keep. I don't know. I do have editing power.
Yeah, let's keep the part where I say let's cut that.
Every episode, there's at least one time where I'm like, there's something where I'm like, this is just clearly too late into the record. Let me just cut a little bit of that. Oops.
Yeah, we are getting to that point where probably there's some cuts that need to happen. But the Michelle Williams is very good in this movie.
Yeah.
I love that. She is definitely, like, and the person who archived the website talked about this, like, she is the blueprint in many ways for the, like, Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Oh yeah.
Like we see how this blossoms into, like, this whole micro genre of, like, the guy who's kind of a loser and the girl who's, like, quirky and unconventional, and they're kind of perfect for each other.
Yeah.
I love that her character's name is Cecil. Mm-hmm. That's a great,
it's really good,
almost parody of, like, a quirky girl in a rom-com name. She really, like, she comes on screen and you're like, oh, this is what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. She has a great bit where she likes to sing, and Michael Showalter sees her sing at this club, and it's part of them sort of bonding is that, like, her boyfriend doesn't show up because he's busy, but Michael Showalter shows up, but she's so shy, and so she's singing this, like bird noises, which then comes full circle at the end where we see, like, Michael Showalter's playing the piano for her while she sings, and she's gained this whole confidence. But there's sort of this, like, it's the, like, bird women thing that then became really, really hot for a while.
Yeah, the 30 Rock character with avian bones.
Yes. My bones. Be careful, my bones.
My bones.
I did write down this. My last note that I wrote down was kind of feels like it's a bit red-pilled / incel-ish. Like, it feels like in their parody of a rom-com and not really quite having enough self-awareness to recognize what they were doing, they created this blueprint. But it's weird because it's like, it doesn't feel like they did it in a malicious way. They're just trying to poke fun, but then it snowballed into this thing that I can't stand,
Yeah, it comes by it quite earnestly, but it definitely evolves into what we see with, I mean, Lars and the Real Girl, 500 Days of Summer, Ruby Sparks, which we will be covering on the show eventually.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people who are a little slicker and a little, more conventional were like, I'm going to play in this space.
Yeah.
And they created things that, sort of morphed into like you can see the domino effect of like people falling down rabbit holes.
The first domino is just Michael Showalter really liking Billy Wilder movies, and that's the tiny domino that ends, oh boy, at like Gamergate.
A really funny scene in this movie, maybe the funniest scene in the movie to me, is the scene with Peter Dinklage as the cunty gay wedding planner.
Oh my god! And the name of his character is Benson Hedges.
Benson Hedges,
which is really good. He has some line, I didn't write it down, but he's like, I'm in somewhere in Brooklyn. It could be Brooklyn, Ohio, for all I know. I have no idea where I am.
It could be Brooklyn, Ohio, for all I know. He is so good. He does it. It's an incredible one scene performance, basically. The principal gag of this scene is that earlier on in the movie, Elizabeth Banks puts a questionnaire for the wedding planner into Michael Showalter's briefcase. And he is distracted because he sees Justin Theroux climbing over the roof of the house next door, which, fair and also, is one of those cases where it's like, you gotta pay attention. You're so obsessed with this other guy that you're not paying attention to your girlfriend, but your wife even. But the gag of the scene is that he never saw this questionnaire, so they're talking about what they want for the wedding, and they're trying to be on the same page, and he is making stuff up off the top of his head. So for colors, he says yellow and black. For music, he says funk or rock, or like goes down a list of the least popular kinds of wedding music, basically. And then they're talking about what kind of food they want, and he says Baja cuisine, and Elizabeth Banks just like, what's Baja cuisine? And he's like, beer battered fish, and then Elizabeth Banks says, beer battered fish, I hate you.
I think that's
this is one of my favorite lines of the movie,
where she says, where she's like, I thought our colors were going to be canned white bean and steamed asparagus.
Yeah,
that's also really good. That scene's also really good because the entire time Michelle Williams is hiding in his apartment, and he had to throw on clothes because he forgot about this meeting, and he's like, oh god, I have to be ready. And so he just throws on random clothes, including one of Michelle Williams' underwear, which of course Peter Dinklage clocks. Peter Dinklage is like, oh, and then the rest of that scene is Peter Dinklage trying to hit on Michael Showalter while he's trying to save his relationship with his fiance, and Michelle Williams is goofily trying to hide in plain sight. It's one of those scenes where there's like 5 gags at once, and they're all good.
Yeah, that scene was a highlight, and the scene at the bar where him and all his guys, and also Paul Rudd, and also Justin Theroux are there, and like they end up going around the table doing some kind of impression game.
It reminded me of the game they played on Wet Hot American Summer Set. Like it reminded me of Snaps.
Mm-hmm.
It's a similar if they're like, and someone doesn't get it, and I was like, I think this is just them being like, what if we put our silly game in our movie?
Yeah. It's a really fun scene. There's Michael Showalter says to Paul Rudd, like, what are you doing here? And he says, well, you know me, governor, coming in for a bit of the old lagers and ale. I'm here to meet a friend.
Justin Theroux's job is geodes. It's simply geodes.
Yeah.
And then at some point he says that
he works in geodes.
he's like, I'm going to move away from geodes. Maybe go into medicine. Maybe soccer.
Yeah. Really good. Michael Showalter's job is, it's like finance, it's like accounting or whatever.
Yeah.
But like and again, this is part of like first draft they came together stuff.
Yeah.
But like The Office is very like cubicle core. There are a bunch of posters of like they're all like the skyline but made out of numbers. Yep. Every poster of The Office is like New York City, but they're just made out of like plain text.
I really like the gag of like all the other Baxters, including Zach Orth is like the one he works with, who's it's not Wim Wenders, but that's what I want to call him.
Wendell Wims.
Thank you. And it's like that's where they threw in like all the other classic dudes from their friend group. Like that's where we see Joe Latrugio, and they're just all just like I don't know. There's something about the goofiness of being like this one really weird dude and being like, oh, well, all his friends would be just like him. And so this is a group of the same guy, but a little different every time.
Yeah. And David Wayne plays Elizabeth Banks' sister's husband.
Yeah, the brother-in-law.
Who's going through his own brother, or is it?
He's the brother-in-law.
I don't know. He's going through his own thing.
Yeah. It's
just like in David Wayne movies, Michael Showalter is also there.
Yeah. It was so fun to just get back to the gang.
Yeah. 5 episodes in, we're coming back to it.
Yeah.
I think my overall thing with this movie is like, and this is part of what I think I brush up against with Michael Showalter movies in general, is that it is it is often more cute than funny.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments that we've obviously talked about that are very funny. There are also a lot of moments that are cute.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very schmaltzy guy. He's a very earnest lover of romance and meet cutes and dates and things like that. And I think what I felt watching this was, and I think I kind of said this, but like it's a parody of a rom-com and a rom-com at the same time.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is a little hard to juggle.
I think this is the perfect mark between his earlier stuff and then his later stuff. Because for a number of years now, he's just made basically straight romances. Like they're not even trying to be funny. They'll have lighthearted elements. Like in spoiler alert, there's this whole, which is the oh my god, the
Jim Parsons.
And there's like a whole bit with like the Smurfs and like the guy's apartment being full of Smurf stuff, and it's this really funny gag, but just like in The Idea of You, which I rewatched after watching The Baxter because I love Michael Showalter so much, and The Baxter was so like close to what I love about his stuff, but not quite, that I was like, I gotta watch The Idea of You again. So I popped in that Anne Hathaway dating Harry Styles movie, and it's still really good. I really like it.
Hell yeah. I gotta watch that.
It's so much. You have to watch it even just for the experience of the movie, because it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And he always takes it dead seriously. Whether it's spoiler alert, which is like a really sad movie and involves like a dude dying of cancer, and The Idea of You, which is like much more just like romance, but also like she's dating a boy band. Like it's goofy, but he takes it seriously. And that's just, I think I'm too much of a sucker for the romance genre and for like earnest additions to it, that it's just like he gets me. He gets what I want out of a like modern romance movie, especially because we get so few these days.
Yeah, his presence is welcome.
Yes. We are starting to almost butt up on 3 hours.
Yeah. This is the part of the show.
Yes.
Where we draft our picks from the movies that we think are going to win big at the Pulpy Awards at the end of the season.
Yes.
Where we will have a whole award show for specifically this batch of movies, which are Rudd Duds.
Yep.
This is a mini series on on the lesser films of Paul Rudd.
Yes.
By the way, it's called Rudd Dead Redemption. If this is your first time joining us, thanks for sticking around.
I hope you 3 hours in figured out what we're doing here.
Oh yeah, they're Rudd Duds. This episode's going to be different because our cap for drafts is 20.
So true. I gotta pull up the Drive document.
And we've hit our cap of 20.
Yeah.
So now, any new additions we make will have to be at the expense of something we previously nominated.
This also...
We can also do trades.
We could start trading.
We can also just drop dead weight if we don't want to if there's things that we want to have something but it's not something that's in this lineup. Like this is dropping, trading, swapping.
Yep. I definitely am looking to drop some stuff. For sure. Great.
I think I got a few things I can pull out of here. The first question for me is what, and I do this every episode, but I do find myself looking back at these movies and being like, what do I want to keep?
Yep.
From what is there anything from this group of movies that I think is more essential than what I already have? Obviously there are things I already have that are not essential, but it's like, what's worth taking here,
Well, I have one right away. I know I went first last time.
Sure.
Do you want to go first?
I think whichever of us is the Baxter of this show should go first.
Well, okay. If we're really going by that, I feel like I have many times felt like I fit into the cliche of what they present as the Baxter. I've always been the Chandler.
So have I.
Well, this is true. We're just two Baxters against the world.
We're just two Baxters against the world, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah. I think since I went first last time, you should go first this time.
So I think the first thing that I want to grab from this slate of movies is Size of Watermelon's costume design.
Ooh, good one.
In terms of what I get rid of in order to make room for that, I think it's going to be I am going to drop my supporting actress nom for Winona Ryder in The 10.
Yep.
She is really good in that movie.
She is good.
But
it is also...
I think we've already mostly forgotten
I was gonna say,
what she did.
That's the only inclusion of The 10 in this entire list of both of our nominees.
For now.
That's true. Okay. For my first pick, I would like to pick... Well, I'm going to drop Alan Alda, supporting actor, for Wanderlust. And I am going to replace it with best score Carter Burwell, The Locusts.
All right. I think that's a smart play.
Yeah.
I think, that yeah. What else do I like in this line of movies? I guess I like a lot of things in this line of movies. Well, let me look. Do I actually... I have not nominated Paul Rudd for anything. I did nominate him for Breakout Star in Halloween 6.
You did.
I'm going to drop that. And instead, I was going to say that I was going to take him for lead in 2 Days. But I might change my mind about that. I think I'm going to... I know we have a soundtrack category, so I'm going to do...
Yeah.
But actually, hold on.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to do 200 Cigarettes soundtrack.
Solid. Very solid. I am going to now drop Jonathan Majors, supporting actor, Quantumania, because even though he's very good in it, I don't want him to be here anymore.
I don't think we are going to give an award to Jonathan Majors. I'll put it that way.
No, Jonathan Majors, he got the nod of being nominated in a rough week, aka the franchises month, and I'm gonna replace him with cinematography 2 days. I didn't write down the cinematographer, but I want to do cinematography 2 days.
Yeah, I also made note of the cinematography in that movie. It's very, I believe Jens Stirrup is the name of the cinematographer.
Nice. Okay.
That is sort of, I feel like that's pretty much like we're already getting to the end of like things that I think are really important to pick up from this slate of movies. I think it would be crazy to do another supporting actor because the next thing in my line is Donald Logue supporting actor, Size of Watermelons.
I have that written down as well.
And
listen, I think so far there was a minute there where I had all the supporting actor nominees and you had all the supporting actress nominees, and we just split it down the middle.
Yeah. Now I have one supporting actor, and it's Larry Drake in Overnight Delivery, which I think is a great choice.
That is a really good one.
Are there any? Because I have these actresses. Are there any I want to get rid of? I did get rid of Winona Ryder. I think that's fair.
Yep.
Marcia Gay Harden and Lily Tomlin. We'll see. Over Her Dead Body is still the worst movie we've watched. That's for sure.
I don't know. I think My Great Gatsby pick is. I think it's got some legs.
It's got legs. I feel good about a lot of these. If I drop something, it's going to be one more thing.
Okay.
And I think that thing is going to be. No, I'm not going to do that. I am done dropping.
Okay.
For now, for this week. We'll see if there are things I want to drop later on, but now I'm basically thinking about what. Yeah, you know what? If you want to make any deals with me, let me know.
Interesting. I'm trying to think if there was any.
I wash my hands.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's any categories that I really don't have anything.
And are there more things you want to drop?
I know. I'm thinking of dropping Paul Giamatti for The Catcher Was a Spy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give The Size of Watermelon something. I almost want to give it a Best Picture because I think it's a really good movie. And I think my only Best Picture so far is Wet Hot.
Which is fair. I do think that Size of Watermelons is one of the best movies we've watched so far. A clean swap, Giamatti for Logue, I also think would be perfectly.
This is true.
Perfectly good.
This is true. I just feel like Owen Wilson for supporting actor. I am so like 100% behind him that I'm almost like I don't need any other supporting actors. I've got it with Owen Wilson. He's so good in that movie.
Owen Wilson's really good.
The rest of that movie is so garbo, and he's so good. Yeah, I think I'm going to swap out Paul Giamatti for The Size of Watermelon Best Picture.
That's a great. That is a Paul Giamatti was really fun to see in Catcher Was a Spy.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good swap.
The only other thing I was really thinking about was Carolyn Aaron plays the mom in 2 Days, and I genuinely thought she kind of killed it.
I love Carolyn Aaron, and I think she's so good in that movie. Yeah.
We also had 2 good cameos, but again, I love the Henry Winkler cameo that I already have a nom for, that I'm not even going to like touch Elvis Costello or Adam West, even though it's crazy that both of them were in this slate of films. I think I'm set. For now.
All right. I'm taking one look to see if there's anything that you have that I want bad enough to like offer something in return. But I think that might have to be a conversation we have in future episodes. I think I am also set.
I've got to really like think about it more and kind of look at what's coming up. And then I could definitely see myself having some trade rumors. Maybe not as big as the okay. This is not at all what our podcast is about, but Quinn Hughes just got traded to the Minnesota Wild, and it is the craziest thing since Brad Marchand going to Florida. Ooh. Hockey world is shook up right now. In case anyone cared. But also, no professional players have yet to comment on heated rivalry, and I am just waiting. I need to know.
It's gonna happen.
Some reporter's gonna go and be like, "What do you think about the really gay hockey show where they have sex every 5 minutes?" And I need to know what someone's gonna say. I need to know what Brad Marchand's gonna say about it.
I need to know what they think.
Yeah.
Do they like it?
There's gonna be at least one guy who's like, "My wife loves it." Anyway.
Absolutely.
That's full circle.
This has been Pulp Fantasy. Thank you to everyone who's followed us on this journey through 5 films of Paul Rudd. There's more where that came from. We got, I think, 3 more episodes this season. Yeah. And we got some good stuff coming up, some interesting stuff coming up. The next episode is actually going to be our 2025 Pulpy Movie Awards.
Yes.
So look forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. I've got some stuff I'm going to try and catch up on. I still will have not seen as many movies as you have, but that is okay.
Yeah, I've lightened up a bit this year. I have seen over 100 movies, but less than in many other years. And if you like the show, give it a like or a rate or whatever you have wherever you watch it, wherever you listen to it, and most importantly, share it with your friends. Let people know you like the show. That's one of the best things you can do. And let us know if you have any feedback. This is still early days, and we've really loved doing it so far. But yeah, let us know.
Thank you to everyone who's listened so far. Thank you to everyone who's already given me some kind of feedback. It's been really helpful. Shall we at least announce the names for our next Paul Rudd Dud episode?
Yes, we shall.
Okay, because the next episode is studio comedies.
Mm-hmm. This is a big part of Paul Rudd's career.
This is huge.
You know, he's known for the studio comedies, and most of them in his heyday were very successful.
Yep.
But these are 4 movies that didn't make the mark. The movies are The X,
Year One,
Dinner for Schmucks,
and Fun Mom Dinner.
Only 4 movies.
Yep.
I think 4 movies an episode for the rest of the season. Yep. So a nice little reprieve there for all of y'all. Less homework.
Yep.
And I think I already know some very interesting things about the movies that we're talking about next month. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I have again seen none of them. I've heard of some of these though, so yeah. I feel like we're moving.
I saw Year One and Dinner for Schmucks in theaters.
That's fun. That's really fun.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting on bated breath for that last episode when I can finally talk about Ideal Home, which I've wanted to talk about this entire time because I love that movie.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I think we're moving out of those early weird years and into modern day Paul Rudd post Ant-Man movie star, like
sexiest man alive,
the present day.
Yeah,
sexiest man alive, Paul Rudd.
Yep.
And we'll see you then.
See ya.
And we've decided to try living.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch more Paul Rudd movies.
We had so much fun with this episode. We're not going to kill ourselves. Yay!